What's going on, guys? We are here another week. We are back. Sports Moves. We're going to talk about NFL. What a great week. And for the WWE, we got to get ready for Survivor Series, college football, NBA. We're here. Sports Moves. 2 Moody's.
1 duty.
Sports. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we are here as always. C. Moody here with
D. Moody.
And we are Sports Moods. We're going to go ahead and get into this because kind of running a little bit late. And as we speak, there's a game about to be underway. I think for Thursday Night Football, we have the Tennessee Titans playing the Steelers. So we're going to recap Week 10, and then we're going to get into our predictions, possibly as the game is going on. But since we're live, you know we ain't making this up. You know we ain't doing this last minute. You know that's what we think because we think we're trying to be the best sports analysts right now. So anyway, let's get into it. But one last thing before we get into NFL recapping Week 10, I just want to go ahead and kick off by appreciating everybody who's been watching us this past week. We've gotten a lot more people throughout South Carolina. I've seen Timmonsville. We always see Timmonsville, Little River. It's another place in South Carolina. And Ashburn, Virginia has always been following us for at least the last couple of weeks. So we truly appreciate it. Any other people that have been watching at other places of the country, we truly appreciate it. And I just want y'all to know, keep watching us. We're trying to do better every week. And now that we're live, we have to stop messing up. So here we go. Let's get into Week 10. We're going to start with Thursday Night Football between Seattle Seahawks and the Cardinals. Both of us did predict correctly with the Seahawks. They did pull out the win 22-16. Russell Wilson had a good game, 238 yards, going 22 for 32 with 2 touchdowns. Also having 15 carries for 19 yards, but did have 1 fumble. Doug Baldwin had a good game with 5 receptions and 95 yards. What you saw about this game, D?
Big thing for me, the injuries right now for the Seahawks. They did lose Richard Sherman in the game.
Yeah, I forgot.
Achilles injury, so he's looking like to be done for the rest of the season. And you could see him on the sideline. They had a camera on him talking to Russell Wilson. A lot of times I want to say Russell Westbrook. So I have to
right. See, I did that a couple of weeks ago.
So Russell Wilson, and he was just like, I'm done. You could see it in his face, like, I'm done. So that's a tough loss for them. I just want to know how their defense is going to respond, finishing out the rest of the season without one of their biggest important pieces to the Legion of Boom. Also, they had some other injuries in the game. C.J. Precise with the ankle injury, and they also lost Dwayne Brown with an ankle injury as well. So the Seahawks are kind of battered right now. So
definitely
just kind of want to see where they're going to go from here with their defense. Another quick call out. Russell Wilson did take a big shot to the chin in this game. They thought he was, probably concussed from the hit, but he kind of refused. Yeah, medical aid after being hit. And
they're still kind of investigating that.
Yeah, they're trying to investigate that to see, because they're trying to cut down on these concussions and just trying to keep the game more safe. It's a physical sport, so you're going to have things like that happen.
Definitely, man. Another shout out. We always talk about how the tight ends are pretty much every quarterback's go-to. Jimmy Graham had a small but efficient game, 6 receptions, but 2 touchdowns out of it. Cam Chancellor actually got a safety in the second quarter on Adrian Peterson. So coming into the Cardinals, he's still kind of going up and down with his performance. And then Blair Walshman, the kickers, has been showing out this year. He had 2 good field goals, 33 and 43. Made a difference.
One big thing that stood out to me with this game was, did you get to see the Russell Wilson elusiveness? How he was just, he threw the pass to Doug Baldwin, and he had like rushers coming at him from the Cardinals, and he's just basically like running, scrambling, just keeping the play alive, and just threw this like close your eyes type throw to Doug Baldwin, and he catches it. I mean, he's probably one of the best at making you miss with his feet that I've seen in a long time. Probably since, I won't put him up there with Mike Vick, but he has his own special style of how he can keep plays alive. And stuff.
Definitely. He doesn't have the speed of Mike Vick, but like you say, you do see traces of it in Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. So what's the next game you want to get into?
I have the New Orleans Saints. The Saints marched to their 7th straight victory after an 0-2 start. Now get this, they did win the game 47-10. I thought this week they were going to lose. I said, hey, they're going across country. They're going up north to play outside of their little, air-conditioned, dome. I said, well, maybe they'll go outside in the elements. They won't really have a good game against the Bills. And they went in and just pummeled
they did.
Buffalo. And they did it with 6 rushing touchdowns in the game.
Exactly. For us just to say that the Saints have always been known as this real passing-heavy team with Drew Brees. He didn't even throw a touchdown,
He didn't throw a touchdown, and that's what makes them more dangerous because now we're seeing how they can win in different ways. They can run the ball. They can throw it. They can be balanced. They can win with their defense as well, playing well. Now, also, too, in this game, another thing that stood out to me, they didn't punt the ball once.
Wow.
In the game. So, basically, pretty much every time they had the ball, they punched it in for a score. Mark Ingram had a breakout game.
Yeah, he did.
In the game, he had 21 carries, 131 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns on the day. The Saints total out with 298 rushing yards, and get this, 32 first downs.
Goodness. In
the game. Even Drew Brees had a rushing touchdown in the game. Like, he brought out his inner Russell Wilson as well, too. So, he's out there vicking. So, I mean, the Saints are looking really good right now.
Man, look, let me tell you, I wanted to do this, man. The Saints put me in a real good mood this week, man.
They deserve it, man. And I've been telling you week after week, 1 win, 2 wins.
They have.
The Saints are coming, man.
The Saints are what? They've been on how big of a streak?
7 now.
7 wins.
And they started
0-2.
And it all started with that first win of the season in Carolina. And since then, they have just... Their last loss was when they played the Patriots in week 2.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Also, a shout out, man, to their other running backs. Alvin Kamara had 12 carries for 106 yards, 1 touchdown. And also Trey Edmonds, 9 carries, 48 yards, but had a 41-yard rushing touchdown, man. So just their running, like you said, the running game was totally dominant. Mm-hmm. Drew Brees, like you said, had 1 rushing touchdown, but only had 184 yards with no passing touchdowns.
And the Bills only mustered 198 total yards in this game. So, I mean, the Saints just pretty much had more rushing yards than the Bills had total yards.
Man.
So just let that sit in your mind.
When the Saints come marching in, man.
Yeah, they didn't march in, they stomped.
That they did, man. This next game I'm going to get into, man, a surprise game for me. I think you had this right, and I think I definitely went against them. Green Bay Packers went into Chicago, beat the Bears 23-16, man. Brett Hundley had a really good game, 18 for 25, so I mean he only had 7 incompletions, and went 212 yards for a touchdown. Devontae Adams had 5 receptions, 90 yards, 1 touchdown on a 19-yard catch. It was just a good game for them, man. How would you feel about it?
It's Hundley's first win as a starter. He did receive a possible hamstring injury, so we'll pay close attention to that during the week. They end a 3-game losing streak. They're still in the race right now. Green Bay is in the NFC North, and then pretty much alive in the wild card race as well. But it was just I thought eventually that they would find a way to put it together. And then it could be one of those things where, as I always say, Chicago, this is their divisional opponent. You play them twice a year. You've never seen Hundley up close and personal. So it looks like they had a game plan around getting him to throw the ball more. And then Devontae Adams has a big game. He hadn't really had a big showing since the Dallas game when Aaron Rodgers was in, and he had the game-winning touchdown. So it's good to see Devontae Adams actually step up and help this young quarterback out. So hopefully Jordy Nelson, Adams, Randall Cobb, and those guys can start getting used to this kid and helping him out.
Definitely. Going into the next game.
Cleveland and your boys, $1 Million Matthew. Let's just go ahead. I mean, it was a win, I will say, but it was pretty... Hey,
you got some stats on Matthew?
I got some on Matthew. I mean, he had a good day. I thought this would be the game where they would, I thought I would see a score like in the Bills-Saints game.
Right.
In this game.
Yeah, it should have been.
But Cleveland, they played tough. Deshaun Kaiser, 21-37, 232 yards, touchdown, interception in the game. They actually had a 10-point lead at one point in this game.
Yeah.
The Lions didn't pull away until late. He played with a lot of grit is what I wrote down. Deshaun Kaiser played with a lot of grit in this game. Also, too, it wasn't as convincing as it looked. Matthew, $1 million Matthew, as I like to call him, 17 out of 26, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did throw a pick in the game.
Yep.
Golden Tate had 6 receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown in the game. So, I mean, this was a good win. I mean, Detroit's looking like they've won a couple in a row now, looking like they're trying to build the momentum. They still they're looking up at Minnesota in that division. So, I mean, it's a win, but I mean, it's Cleveland.
Yeah, it should have been more convincing than that. And also adding that Nevin Lawson had a 44 fumble recovery for a touchdown in the second quarter. So you take away that, it's an even closer game.
It is. And it took them late, as we said, to pull away. I know on any given Sunday, anybody can give you a tough game. But I just thought by them being at home, it being kind of lesser competition, they would kind of
exactly. Cleveland comes in 0-8, shouldn't be this convincing. Shouldn't be this hard to get 14 points on this team. So, yeah, I got you on that.
But I mean, Detroit wins. I mean, I still need to see more. I'm still not quite sold.
I can honestly say I'm actually losing a little bit of my belief in Matthew. As excited as I've been as the season started, he's let me down a couple of times, man. So he needs to get back in my heart.
He just got to win the big games. I mean, again, he's lost to Pittsburgh. That was a close game. I thought they should have won the close game.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons, they should have won. They lost to Carolina. So, in order to, put yourself at, above the rest and for that type of salary he's getting, those are the types of games you have to win.
Definitely.
You have to make those clutch plays to be regarded as a top-tier quarterback.
Definitely, man. Can I get into this game that has to put me in a good mood right here? I mean, when Houston... Now, I will say this. The LA Rams, what a game I'm talking about is my team, C. Moody's team, the LA Rams, beating Texans at home 33-7. But I can't totally bask in this game because they did come without Deshaun Watson and JJ Watt. So two of the biggest factors that make them so successful lately. A win is a win, but still, I can't say that, hey, we took down as strong of a team as it would have been with Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt. But Jared Goff had a good game, 25 for 37, 355 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Robert Woods, 8 receptions, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, with one being the 94-yard touchdown in the third quarter. And they only had 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. That was the only times that they had their scoring touchdowns was in the third quarter for the Rams.
Yeah, 4 straight wins for them. They're getting more impressive to me by the week. And what I wrote down was this was the Robert Woods show.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Todd Gurley had an okay game, 11 carries, 68 yards, but you could tell it was more of a passing formula for the victory for Jared Goff. The past couple weeks have been really strong for him. And I will go out and say that in one of my fantasy leagues, he was my quarterback. He got me 30 points. I did lose by virtue of a tie, and because of bench points, I didn't have enough players who put up points on the bench, so I did lose. But he tried to carry the victory. I give it to Goff. He really played well. This is a dangerous team, man. Like I said, getting more impressive by the week. For Houston, also Tom Savage, 18 out of 36, 221 yards. Threw a touchdown, 2 picks in the game. That could be the difference as well when you turn the ball over. Even though no Deshaun Watson, Hopkins is still looking good. He had 7 catches in the game for 111 yards receiving in the game. So he's still putting up the numbers despite Deshaun Watson not being there.
Right. Also, man, another game where the kickers make a difference, man. Greg Zerlin had a 27-yard, 33-yard, a 50-yarder, and a 33-yarder. So, I mean, that's 12 points right there. He's
one of the more consistent kickers of the season.
Definitely,
I see his name pop up a lot. And that could be clutch, in the playoffs if you get in one of those tight situations where it comes down to a final kick or when you're leading by 2 or 3 points and to push the lead to 5 or 6 points to make the other team have to drive down for a touchdown. That could be all the difference that you need to potentially hold on and win a game.
Exactly. Let me tell you about one of the hidden gems that they haven't unlocked yet. Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
Two receptions, 41 yards, and a 17-yard touchdown. But get this, out of the 2 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown, he was only targeted 3 times.
That's good. 2 out of 3. And 1 went for a touchdown. I'll take that all day.
And imagine once they start using him a lot more. I mean, that's a big target to have. So once they really start using him in more serious situations.
Is he still with you guys, Tavon Austin?
Yeah. But
I know he used to be like the special team.
He was. That's kind of they kind of thrown him in the mix. He's kind of like more in the background now. They might throw him as a wildcat running back once they're there.
Like
he
a
might
trick
be
player.
Exactly. They haven't, and it's unfortunate for me because I mean his speed really made a difference last year.
Yeah.
So I wish that they could find a spot for him. But I guess with Sean McVay's offensive front,
he didn't really fit into it.
Yeah, I guess
Robert
not.
Woods,
Man.
these last 2 weeks have just really exploded.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we'll have to see. I may have to give Bill Belichick a call and try to pry him from you.
No, man, don't do that.
We could use him right now.
No, y'all don't need anything else. Y'all keep everything y'all have. Go ahead to the next game.
We'll go ahead and jump into it. Pittsburgh versus the Indianapolis Colts. We do know Pittsburgh will be in the Thursday night game versus Tennessee tonight, but on Sunday they played the Colts. It was a close game. I mean,
surprisingly,
it was 20-17. Typical Pittsburgh this year. Some weeks they just look ultra great. Some weeks they just look mediocre. Some weeks they go back and forth. It just depends on who they're playing, I guess. But I mean, it's a surprising struggle for them. And this was another game where we kind of had a potential concussion player playing through a possible concussion with Jacoby Brissett.
That is right.
He did take a hit in the game, but he continued to play. So the big question is right now the NFL is questioning, did he finish the game with a concussion? So Big Ben, though, did finish the game with 19 out of 31, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw an interception. Juju Schuster, 5 receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown. This guy keeps coming across my radar.
Yeah.
Just kind of, Antonio Brown had kind of a quiet game, but that's good though because you don't always have to force it to Antonio Brown. You have other weapons you can throw it to. Martavius Bryant actually had a decent game in this game as well. As we know, a couple weeks ago he was benched and he was wanting out of Pittsburgh, so maybe they've reined him back in and got him back to buy into what they're doing.
Right.
But the big thing for Jacoby Brissett, 14 out of 24, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick in the game. Rodgers had 6 receptions for the Colts, 104 yards and a touchdown. And after the game, Jacoby Brissett did not talk to the media. So kind of makes you feel like maybe he didn't want to face the music with that as terms of getting questioned, hey, did you play the game with concussion? We noticed out there, maybe trying to stay away from that pressure. But I feel like if there's a potential chance at a concussion, I feel like that's where the head coach needs to step in and be like, hey, even if you have to sit out a series or go in the back, go get checked. This is a very serious issue to let someone play. We have so many former players struggling with these issues now for life, pretty much.
And a lot of people committed suicide, man.
Because of it, you know. So we do need to try to rain down on that to kind of cut that out of the game.
Yeah, man, definitely. This whole CTE thing, especially when I saw the movie Concussion, it really just put a new light on me about how serious this game is. As beautiful as we like the game to be when we watch it, these people are really kind of putting their bodies on the line.
And they're ultra passionate, and I get that. Like, I want to be out there. I want to make an impact, but you also have to think about it long term.
You have
what
to.
This could do for you.
Definitely.
To hurt your career possibly.
Yeah, and for one of the, I know ESPN calls the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're the killer bees with, but since you used it for the Patriots so long, I don't want to use that now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give them 4B. That's what I'm going to give them. You have Ben Roethlisberger.
B4?
B, and I want 4B. It's like this is the room of destruction for them, 4B.
Okay.
Or B4 I thought of, but I was like 4B maybe puts a little twist to it. You got Ben Roethlisberger, of course, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and the kicker, Chris Boswell. This week he had a 33-yard field goal to win the game. So.
And they were down 17-3.
Look at that.
14 points. I mean, they're 7-2. I mean, you can't argue the record, but I still think they still hadn't hit that peak yet.
No, not at all.
And I feel like they still could be on the verge of possibly an upset in the playoffs. Given the fact that they've been so topsy-turvy this year.
They really have.
Who you got next on your games?
Next, I got a team that took into overtime for a victory. Jacksonville pulled it out over LA Chargers at home, 20-17. Blake Bortles had a real good game, 28 of 51. Now reading that, not really a great game as far as efficiency, but did hit 273 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and threw 2 interceptions. Josh Lambo, another game where the kickers matter. I mean, he had a 34-yard field goal to tie it, to get it into overtime, and then had a 30-yarder for the win in OT, man. So it was just good performance by that, man. It's the kickers matter, man.
They do.
The kickers matter more and more. Every year they see it in certain spurts, and then they throw them right back under the bus, underrated. But now this year for me, like,
they
it's
really
the court.
matter. And then when they took the thing where they pushed the extra point back, we saw how the first year how kickers were struggling with that. That could be the deciding factor of a game. I mean, we saw the a couple of years ago. I think it was it the Minnesota Vikings?
Yep, the Vikings blew it
because of they missed an extra point.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It was the Vikings that lost it.
So kickers are very important, especially this time of year when it comes down to the wire. They can make all the difference.
Yeah. What's the next game you got?
Cincinnati versus Tennessee. We were talking about before we started. That was one of the games that you felt that got you this week. Tennessee's won 4 in a row now. 6-3 start. This is their best start since the 2008 season.
Yep.
Marcus Mariota, 25 out of 44, 264 yards, a touchdown. Did turn it over once with an interception. Andy Dalton had a pretty efficient game. 20 of 35. 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Green had 5 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown reception in the game. But pretty much a 7-yard touchdown pass to DeMarco Murray with 36 seconds left in the game for the go-ahead touchdown. Now, also in this game, what I took from this game, we do know about what I call them the boisterous Bengals. I mean, we got Burfict in another situation again, ejected for pushing the arm of an official.
Yep.
He just has a bad reputation. I didn't think it really warranted like an ejection and all that. I mean, he's just always, they have a microscope on him. So pretty much they're looking at every single thing that he does.
But I mean, once you know you're in that kind of heat, you know, you really have to.
It's kind of like a few years ago with Ndamukong Suh. Remember when he was doing all
stepping on people?
He just has a bad rep for himself. So anything he does, even if it's unintentional, it looks intentional because of your past offenses.
That's true.
It just looks like Marvin Lewis just does not have control of this undisciplined.
Oh, he doesn't.
There's been so many times where we've seen, whether it be Pac-Man Jones or whether it be Burfict or whatever's going on with this Bengals team, there's just no control for Marvin Lewis.
No,
this team.
He doesn't.
That's why I feel like one of the reasons also just by how he's underachieved in the playoffs, but he also has no control of your team. He's got to go.
Yeah, and one thing, man, it made the difference for the Titans. For total yards, time of possession, they held it for 40 minutes.
Man.
While the Bengals, still having 20 points, only held it for 19 minutes.
Yeah, so that's a big, difference in time of possession.
Exactly.
Still be a close game. So it's either Pittsburgh, I don't know why I'm saying Pittsburgh. Either Tennessee didn't finish a lot of the drives that they had, or didn't really maximize a lot of the opportunities they have to football for the Bengals to kind of hang around as much as they did. But Bengals are 3-6 on the season, looking like they're not going to make the playoffs. So I'm anxious to see what the Bengals front office is going to do with Marvin Lewis.
I know you're ready for him to go.
Yeah, I'm ready. It's been time for him to hit the road.
I got you, man. I'm gonna get to this next game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. They're beating the Jets, man, 15-10. Ryan Fitzpatrick, which is a name we haven't heard in a while, man. He had a pretty good game. 17 out of 34. Half of his 50% right there. 187 yards, 1 touchdown, even though he had 1 interception. On the other end, we have Josh McCown going 23 for 39, 262 yards, 1 touchdown, but also 1 interception.
I mean,
that's it. That's
pretty much it. You explained it all on that. I mean, it's good for Tampa to finally end that losing streak. I mean, they win without Jameis Winston being available.
Exactly.
I thought the Jets would win this game. I thought this would be a great opportunity for them to try to get an easier opponent to face. We do know Tampa's scrappy. It's not like they're getting blown off the field each and every week.
No.
They're hanging tough. But, given the fact that you're playing a team that really doesn't have much to play for, sometimes it can be hard to get past one of those teams.
Exactly. Like you said, it's a tough team, but they just don't know how to execute on all cylinders.
Yeah.
And that's what has them behind the level right there.
Yeah, they're definitely not heading toward the playoffs for sure. I don't really think they've had a really good game since the New England game weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it's good that Fitzpatrick has come in when he's had opportunities. He's put up some numbers, and he actually led them to a victory. So
definitely.
The next game that I have here, I think it's time to put a little respect on this team right here. Let me give them some applause.
Go ahead.
And that's the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
They're sitting at 7-2 right now. I mean, not a lot of people are talking about them. We got a handful of 7-2 teams. So, and I think this is the team that has been talked about the least. They tough one against the Redskins here, 38-30. They did go on the road and win it. Case Keenum, your boy, your protege from where?
Oh, yeah, from the Rams, man.
Yeah, he started his career there. So, I mean, 21 out of 29, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns on the day. Did throw 2 interceptions. Latavius Murray had 17 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Thielen also had a great game. 8 receptions, 161 yards, and a touchdown. On the other side, Kirk Cousins, 26 for 45, 327 yards, touchdown and a pick in the game. It's like Kirk Cousins always is. It's either 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Yeah.
And it's like wins and losses. Win 1, lose 1. Win 1, lose 1. Lose 2, win 2. So it's just like it's always a mediocre up and down scenario for him. And I really feel like he has the ability to be a top tier quarterback.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know what else he needs around him. I think Jay Gruden's an okay coach. I mean, but I don't know what else Washington needs. But also, Swearinger for the Redskins had 2 interceptions back-to-back on Case Keenum. So the 2 picks he did throw in the game, he threw to the same person.
How about that?
On back-to-back throws.
Really?
So that's like, okay, you throw an interception, they get the ball back, do whatever they're going to do, and it comes right back out. His first throw, he throws it right back to the same dude again. So
what are the odds? But
the cool thing about this game that stood out to me, very funny touchdown celebrations. Did you get to see some of the Minnesota Viking touchdown celebrations?
What team? I saw some kind of montage with a whole bunch of celebrations this week. Did they do the duck goose or was
yes, that was them.
That was them.
They did the duck goose. They also did leapfrog.
That's what I was thinking too.
And also in the Steelers game, they did the reenactment of the fight last week between the Bengals and the Jaguars.
Really?
Jay Green, like Schuster, when he scored a touchdown, like they went behind him and took him and like put him on the ground. It was like, so they kind of poked a little bit of fun at that. So I thought that was funny. This week was a funny week in terms of touchdown celebrations. We really don't get to see any creative ones anymore.
Yeah.
Like when we had Terrell Owens and Chad Ochocinco.
To go signing balls, have their phones out.
Popcorn and all of that. So, I mean, that was really good to see.
Yeah.
But also for Minnesota, Teddy Bridgewater is active for the first time since January 2016. So now you have a quarterback controversy now. So who is going to start this week? A lot of people feel roll with Keenum.
Yeah.
It's working. He's doing well.
You're 7-2. Why are we trying? I mean, no disrespect to Bridgewater, but we're 7-2.
And it could be one of those things where you break the momentum if you throw him in here, right?
Exactly.
So I would just let Keenum roll with it until he shows me otherwise. Now, you got to give him some chances, too. You can't wait if he just comes out and just has you're not saying if he has a mediocre game, then maybe consider pulling him. But if he just comes out there and just messes up and he's just having a terrible performance, and pull him. But right now, as of right now, going into the game, give him a chance to lose his job before you take it away, if that makes sense.
So for Keenum?
For Keenum.
Yeah,
give him a chance to lose it before you just take it away from him. He's doing some really good things.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, to say they're 7-2, they've gone through with the Sam Bradford thing getting hurt. They just can't keep a consistent quarterback in place there, but they still continue to win in spite of all that.
Yeah, man, they're a pretty complete team, man, I must say.
Yeah. Who do you have next?
Next, I'm going to go ahead and get into the Dirty Birds in Atlanta, man. Atlanta messing up my pick. Both of our picks, actually. Both of us went with the Cowboys.
That's because I thought Zeke would be available. Like the last 2 weeks, man,
I thought
never
Zeke
wasn't playing, so I think I went against them.
Yeah.
And then they won. He played, and then
thought we was going to play this week.
And then he didn't play, and I just lost track with it.
So as far as we know now, he denied his appeal. As what I've seen now earlier today, he denied his appeal, and he's going to be out until Christmas.
That he should have did that to start the season.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and serve it. Get the 6 out of the way. Then you're available at the most important time of the year.
Exactly.
Going back and forth. I mean, got you nowhere pretty much. It let you play a couple more games, but you're not there when they need you the most.
Exactly, man. So Atlanta took advantage of them without Ezekiel. 27-7. One of the major things, Adrian Claiborne had a phenomenal game. He had, get this, 6 tackles. That's his total, 6 tackles, which equated as 6 sacks. So all the times he tackled somebody was all
somebody,
sacks.
Dak Prescott.
Oh, exactly.
It wasn't somebody.
Right, it was one person.
Prescott.
So definitely puts us in a very good mood, man. That was the Atlanta record for sacks. So, I mean, he's breaking records in this game. As far as throwing the ball, Matt Ryan had a pretty good game, 22 for 29, only 7 incompletions, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 1 pick. Dak Prescott, when he wasn't sacked, he went 20 for 30 for 176 yards, man. So it's a good game for the Atlanta offense to see Matt Ryan kind of starting to get back into his own. He's been up and down. He hasn't really been the Super Bowl performer. Like I've been saying every week, I really don't like what this Atlanta Falcons have become. But hopefully Adrian Claiborne can give some hope for the defense. And then if Matt Ryan can come back to who he was on offense, we might can see a spurt for them maybe towards the end to kind of squeak their way inside. So in the playoffs.
And then too, but Dallas, they also lost Sean Lee. They're arguably one of the best left tackles in the game.
Yeah,
I would say him and Luke Kuechly from the Carolina Panthers lost him due to a hamstring. He's been dealing with injuries for the last few seasons. He's a big part of what they do defensively. Now he's not like an impact player like a J.J. Watt, but he's a valuable player.
Yeah. And
anytime you have someone that's valuable, they're consistent. And they're going to miss him not being there depending on how long Sean Lee's going to be out. And then also, too, to kind of piggyback off Claiborne, he did have 6 sacks in the game, but he's had more sacks in that one game than he did in any other season in his career except his rookie season where he had 7.5 sacks.
Wow. So
he equated one game, 6 sacks. He did better than all the other seasons except for one he played in.
That's crazy.
That is like an earth-shattering stat, a mind-boggling type thing. Like, wow. So I'm pretty sure Dak Prescott is still...
He's a little sore off of that one.
It's Claiborne. So, I mean, it sucks for Dallas right now.
Yeah.
I don't know where we'll go from here with them.
I don't know, man. And like I said, that was my Super Bowl pick.
Coming up, so...
Yeah,
man.
Time will tell. Time will tell, man. Who do you have going next game, man?
I'm just going to start it off, man.
I think I know who you're talking about.
This song came to my mind when I thought of this game.
Oh, no.
And I know we're both religious here. Truth is, I'm tired. If anybody doesn't know that song, I mean...
My goodness.
Tamla Man, Take Me to the King. The 49ers they were tired.
They were tired, man.
They were tired.
Options were few.
We got to win this game. This is our only chance.
Beautiful. I mean, beautiful way to put it.
It was tired. I mean, and I really wrote on my paper, finally, 49ers. Finally.
On mine, I got in stars, first W.
It's just like you deserve a round of applause.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Kyle Shanahan getting that first win as a head coach in the league. Man, it's been rough. 5 of their 9 losses were by 3 points or less. So they've had some pretty competitive games this year, but it's just to a point where it had to happen. And I went against them. I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I thought it was going to be just Giants going to roll over them. But throwing out some numbers, C.J. Beathard, 19 of 25, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in the game. Carlos Hyde added 98 rushing yards. Goodwin had an 83-yard touchdown reception in the game. Now, with him this past week, he did he and his significant other lost a baby due to a miscarriage the night before the game. So that's probably got to be one of the toughest things you ever have to. One of the toughest things you got to face in life.
Definitely
losing an unborn child that you never even had a chance to even see or hold, or you probably have so many plans and aspirations to raise a kid and never get the opportunity because of a miscarriage. So, our hearts go out to his family for that. But that touchdown, to come and play the very next day.
Yeah, it took a lot of heart.
It took a lot of heart to do that, and then to get that touchdown, for them to draw up a play to give him that type of a touchdown, that probably had to mean the world to him for that.
Definitely, man. And for C.J. Beathard, man, he also had a rushing touchdown, 15 yards out of 5 carries, man.
Mm-hmm. So he had showing us some little running options here. Now for Eli Manning, 28 of 37, 273 yards in the game, 2 touchdown passes. You had Sterling Shepard with 11 receptions in the game, man. That's pretty much all the Giants have, besides the tight end Ingram.
Yeah.
I mean, Shepard, 11 receptions, 142 yards receiving in the game. So, but the Giants lose it. San Francisco wins at 31-21.
Finally.
Yeah, and the Giants just look horrible. And I saw on First Take on ESPN earlier this week, they played a clip that had the headline, because their coach is called Ben McAdoo for the Giants.
Right.
And it had McAdooed.
Oh, no.
At First Take is really good when it comes to those little catchy little headlines.
That's hilarious.
And then they showed a clip of where the coach is like, the players should be self-motivated. Everyone here gets a paycheck. So I just feel like Ryan Clark is like, McAdoo has to go. Yeah. I mean, you as a coach, it's your job to motivate your players. Not only their paycheck should motivate them, obviously. Right. That should be some sense of motivation. But at the end of the day, you're there to help them game plan and get them prepared for the game and get them motivated about playing football.
Exactly.
And Ryan Clark pretty much says he is the most uninspiring coach he has ever seen.
Wow.
And that's some really harsh words from Ryan Clark. He's the most uninspiring head coach I've ever seen.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Good job, 49ers.
Exactly. Good job, man. And before I get to this next game, I also do want to give just one moment of silence for Marquise Goodwin, his family losing their child, man. Our hearts and prayers are with them, man. All right. So, the next game, man, D. Moody, his boys. This is a proud moment for him. I won't take too much of this from him. I just want to give the score. I'll give the rest to him.
You can have the floor.
Right.
The floor is yours.
The New England Patriots go into Denver to beat up and bully on the Broncos, 41-16. Man. So go ahead and have the.
I thank you, Steve Moody, for this opportunity to be here to talk about my pride and joy, the New England Patriots. Where do I start here? Well, the last 4 games, we do know the beginning of the season for the Patriots, it's just been a lot of defensive issues they've had. The last 4 games only given up 17 points a game.
Wow.
And that's a major improvement because the first 5 they gave up 32 a game.
Yep.
So we've seen some changes within the defense. They're stepping up and playing a lot better than they did early in the season. Also, some milestones in this game for Tom Brady. 86 regular season road win. Broke a tie with Peyton Manning for the most all time. So Tom Brady, in the NFL, man, you have to learn how to go and win in hostile environments. Although Denver's been one of the tougher places for him to go play. Obviously, there's no Peyton Manning to go up against. Even when there wasn't a Peyton Manning in Denver, it was always tough for Brady to go play in Denver. He puts his record now to 4-7 at Mile High, so he still has a losing record there.
Wow.
Including losing 2 AFC Championship games there as well. But Bill Belichick moved into a third place tie with Tom Landry on the all-time head coaching list for wins. He now has 270 total wins in his career. The only person he trails right now is George Halas with 324 wins, and Don Shula with the most all-time with 347 wins. Now just to get into some some big stats of this game. Brady went 25 out of 34, 266 yards, did throw 3 touchdowns in the game. Deion Lewis came to play as well. He had 14 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown. He had a huge 103-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. I thought that really busted the game open for the Patriots at that point. Now on the other side, Denver, Brock Osweiler, 18 of 33, 221 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And Emmanuel Sanders had 6 receptions for 137 yards. They look really good, man.
Yeah.
It was just like a steamroller, man. The Patriots were just going up and down the field at will, doing what they wanted to do. At 7-2 right now, I think they're just going to continue to get better from here. They just do it a different way every week. It's a new player that steps up for them. That's always been their type of thing that they've done. It's never the same people all the time. So you never know who's going to have that breakout game for the Patriots, man. What did you think just by this performance for New England?
I mean, it's Tom Brady. It's just hard to really go against Tom Brady, man. That just in general, even though it wasn't big on the separation of yardage, I mean, they only had just a little bit under 60 yards of difference. Mm-hmm. The Patriots having 396, almost 400 yards, while the Broncos had 339. They like you said, they always find some way to win. The defense capitalized on a fumble and interception, so getting 2 turnovers on Denver. Tom Brady, I mean, if the defense can do their part, Tom Brady's always going to do his part. Mm-hmm. It's not many teams out here, many defenses that are going to stop Tom Brady from having a somewhat good game. Like a decent game for Tom Brady is throwing at least 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, it's always going to be good to see him play. And that's pretty much one of the dominant teams in the NFL.
He's up there to be 40 years old playing the way that he's playing, right there among the league in touchdown passes, completion percentage. I think he leads the league in passing yards. So, I mean, he's still putting up great numbers. And a lot of people felt that was part of the reason, like, they let Jimmy Garoppolo go, because, like, maybe Garoppolo's the backup plan here to say, hey, Tom Brady, this is going to be his replacement, but Brady's still playing at a high level. We can't handcuff Garoppolo and hold him here year after year, and Brady's still playing at a high level.
True.
Give him an opportunity to go somewhere else and maybe start his career there.
Respect that.
Who you got for the next one?
The last game we have is Monday Night Football, Carolina Panthers versus the Miami Dolphins. And the Carolina Panthers definitely stomped on the Dolphins, took them out of the water, and just let them sit there and spat out. 45-21, man. Cam Newton had a crazy game. 21 for 35, 254 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. Devin Funchess, 5 receptions, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. As a whole, total yards for the Dolphins, 313. For the Panthers, 548 total yards.
And that was a franchise record for them, 548 yards in the 23-year history of the Carolina Panthers. I mean, this game, man, they look really good.
They did.
Now, Miami is not a bad team. Miami is just a lot of stuff just has to come together.
Right.
Jay Cutler's not playing bad, but they've got a nice little receiving core with Devontae Parker and Kenny Stills along with Jarvis Landry. It's just
they're incomplete.
They're incomplete right now, and I know Adam Gase is still trying to build, a franchise there and just trying to put them in the right direction. But Carolina just was a tough matchup for them. Cam looked really good. He's getting back into running the ball more, and I like this more aggressive.
Yeah,
Cam.
Definitely.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he's looking like, kind of saw shades of what they looked like in 2015 when they made that Super Bowl run. Looks like he's having fun out there, but it's just that offense was just too much. I mean, Christian McCaffrey did some good things. Funchess, as you said, had some big plays in the game. It was just an overall just great performance by the Panthers.
Definitely, man. Like you said, on the other side of the ball, Jay Cutler had a decent game, 22 for 37, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And their running back, Kenyon Drake, had a nice 66-yard run for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Ended up totaling at 82 yards, total rushing yards out of 7 carries, man. So they, like you said, they have some pieces there. They're just not a complete team. Mm-hmm. So, but that is our NFL Week 10. As if you follow us on our social media, or if you listened to us last week, you knew what teams we went for together or against, and you know that as it rounded off for this week, I slipped by him and got 10-4, while D Moody had 8-6. So as for the season as it holds, D Moody is still up 1. For the season, he is 90-56, while I am right behind him at 89-57.
Man, this has been a tight race all season long.
Yeah.
Man. I thought for sure this week I lost. I said I noticed once I got more than 4 wrong, I was like, he might get me this week. He might get me. But then New England came through, Carolina came through, Tennessee came through for me. I had some other games that I started to go with the Saints last week, and I kept going back and forth, and I thought Buffalo would beat them, so I wish I could have that.
And the Packers helped me.
The Packers helped me too. I just felt Green Bay. I said it's time for them to win. They're going to find a way to get this done. So it was a very tough contested week. And again, this week you could pull back in front of me. I could pull away. We could finish in a tie. Who knows what can happen in the NFL? So. Just anxious to pick this week's pick, but before we get into our picks, we're going to go with our top 5.
Yep.
And then we'll hit the NFL power rankings to kind of let you know how the playoff picture is looking, and then we'll round it off with our week 11 picks 11. Going into week 11.
And so, like we said, we are live right now. So as we are talking right now, the game is underway between Tennessee Titans, Pittsburgh Steelers. The score as it is now, they are ending the first quarter, and the Steelers are up 10-7. So
yeah, it's going to be a tough game for them. We'll see how it goes, how Tennessee plays. They've won 4 in a row. Pittsburgh, I think, has won possibly 3 or 4 games in a row themselves. So both of these teams are streaking. So we'll just have to kind of see where it ends up for them. I think Pittsburgh's last loss, I want to say, was against the Chicago Bears. No, matter of fact, it was against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
Remember that game when Jacksonville just kind of destroyed them at home? So since then, Pittsburgh has rallied some wins.
Yeah.
But as far as the top 5 goes, I'll go ahead and start mine this week.
Go for it.
To give you guys a snippet of what I think the NFL looks like right now as far as the top teams. At number 5, I have the first time this season in my top 5. Back in the day, they used to call them the Purple People Eaters.
Oh, man.
The Minnesota Vikings are in my top 5 at 7-2.
Okay.
Anxious to see what they're going to do this week as far as Teddy Bridgewater and Case Keenum scenario, what's going to happen with that. But they've been winning, man. They've been doing it a lot of different ways. You know, despite all the injuries at quarterback, I like what this team has going on. Some weeks Jerick McKinnon's having a good game. Some weeks it's Latavius Murray. Thielen is playing well at the receiver position. Case Keenum is really kind of taking control, looking like he wants the starting job. And as I said, I think you don't take it from him, give him a chance to lose it. I like the momentum they have. Definitely. And I just hate when teams make a drastic change and it just kind of throws everything off. So hopefully Minnesota can keep the momentum. They're leading the NFC North right now. They have a 2-game lead over Detroit and Green Bay, so they're in a good position right now. They control their own destiny going forward.
Yep.
Number 4. I have a 2-way tie at number 4.
Okay.
Got the New Orleans Saints. They keep marching, man. They just keep marching and marching. You know, the last time they lost was in week 2, man, to the Patriots. And then since then, they've rallied off 7 in a row. They're doing it in different ways. Some weeks it's the passing game. Some weeks it's, as we saw this week, it was more of a run-dominant performance versus Buffalo. 6 rushing touchdowns in the game. Mark Ingram is coming on strong as of late. Alvin Kamara is having a pretty decent season running the ball there. And Drew Brees continues to lead this team, him and Sean Payton. You know, they have that experience and that championship experience, so they're looking to try to make another run at a Super Bowl, it looks like, out of the NFC.
Yep.
So the Los Angeles Rams at 7-2. Back-to-back weeks where they have looked really strong. Now, this week is going to tell the story They play the Minnesota Vikings this week, so we got a pair of 7-2 teams butting heads here. So, we'll see what the verdict is with the Rams when they kind of play some upper competition, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm anxious to see that game, but I like what Jared Goff is doing. I like just the energy around this team, what Sean McVay has done in such a short time being there. Robert Woods is stepping up, playing well. You always have that threat of Sammy Watkins, Todd Gurley. The defense is playing well. So the Rams and Saints are tied at 4 for me.
Okay.
At number 3, Pittsburgh Steelers. 7-2 right now. The verdict is still out on them. For me, I just feel like each week it's a different week for them. You never know what you're going to get. I haven't really seen a lot of true consistency. We've seen them struggle with teams that we think they should destroy, and we've seen them, win close games. We've seen them get blown out. So it's just up and down for the season, but you're 7-2, so you are what your record says you are. Mike Tomlin is an experienced coach. He knows what it takes to win big games, so it may not always be pretty, and that's the thing about football. Sometimes it's just one of those things where you're just surviving and advancing through each week.
Right.
And that's what it seems like Pittsburgh is doing. They had a tough one versus the Colts on Sunday, and now on a short week this week versus the Titans tonight. So that's a tough one for them as well. Could potentially be another playoff matchup that we could see down the road again. But also this week, Ben Roethlisberger was interviewed and asked about how does he feel about Thursday night games, and he just said he feels the league should do away with it. He's not a big fan of it. Playing on a short week, playing 2 football games in the same week is just he just feels like the league should do away with it, and it's not good for the league. But they're at number 3. This also coming from Ben Roethlisberger, who feels like he doesn't have it anymore. So I don't know how he'll feel about the Thursday night game if they win. And I'm pretty sure he's still going to be happy regardless of what day you play on. If you can win, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Number 2.
I already know.
The reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots.
I already knew.
I mean, what more do I have to say here that I haven't already said? I mean, it's the Patriots. Yeah. I mean, just the model of consistency. I mean, beside the word consistency in the dictionary, there should be a picture of Bill Belichick's face right there, because he is the epitome of what consistency means. Each and every year, 12, 13, 14, 11, 12, 13, 14 win seasons, Super Bowl after Super Bowl, AFC championship game appearances. I mean, he's just the epitome of it. He's just like that thing that just won't go away.
I'm not even going to make a joke about cheating this time. You know what? Hey, take that.
He's just that thing that just will not go away. No matter what personnel he has, who's in, as long as he and Brady is there, and Bob Kraft is in the rafters or in the press box looking down on us, giving us his blessing, all is right in the world with the Patriots. And they're looking really well right now, just given the fact of how they're playing. Brady's playing beyond his years. Usually this is where most quarterbacks hit that decline. Brady is pretty much continuing to excel, wants to play till he's 45 or 46 years old. So if he continues to play this way, I feel he can do it. Will he? I'm not sure, but they're looking good right now. Number 2 for me.
Gotcha.
And number 1. Despite the fact of being on a bye week this week, just by virtue of the record at 8-1, Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles pretty much got a stranglehold right now in the NFC East Division, best record in the league. They're just playing some outstanding football right now. I can't argue the fact that they are the best team right now. And they're looking like they're going to lock everything up in the NFC if everything goes the way that they have it going as it stands now, and if they can stay injury free. I mean, Carson Wentz for MVP for me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's your top 5.
That's my top 5, and I saw you writing a lot over there, so I don't know if you're making some last minute scratches or some changes. So
no, honestly, I was just kind of tallying yours down because, like I said, I didn't have yours written for last week, so I wanted to make sure I had that. just kind of feeling out what you got. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into my top 5. And I've been honestly, while you were doing that, I was going back and forth between a team that I have in tied for 5, and I think I'm gonna leave them in here. And so, starting off my top 5 at number 5, for the first time as well on mine is the Minnesota Vikings, and tied with them is the Pittsburgh Steelers. While they are convincing, still at 7-2, like you said, they've been, to me, that loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've been up and down. Even though they win, their performances are good and bad. And this week, for you to struggle this much with the Indianapolis Colts having to result to a field goal to win to this team that should be an easy win, not to take away from the Colts, even though they're performing great in spite of losing Andrew Luck. To me, for the Steelers, they haven't shown it for me to put them any higher. So last week for me, they were at number 5. They remained there, and I just added the Vikings. Okay. At number 4, the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champs, New England Patriots.
I couldn't hear you.
New England Patriots.
I'm surprised you got them at 4.
Listen. The reason they're at number 4 for me, because they were number 5 last week, and I moved them up.
Are you trying to justify? I
moved them up. I did move them up. I mean, they are still playing great football altogether, but for me, as good of a defense we know Denver hasn't been the team that they should be. So I don't want to move them up as drastically as maybe they deserve just because of this win. Because to me, Denver isn't that great of a team this year.
This is a team they've struggled with.
I mean, that's true. Yeah. Like you said, Tom Brady is now 4-7 in the Mile High City. Mm-hmm. But just this year's Denver just doesn't impress me enough, even though they did come out 41-16. So I moved them up, but that's it. That's as much as I can give them. So at number 3, which I'm gonna tell you, you're not gonna like this one, but I dropped them down this week, and it is my LA Rams. I dropped them down from 2 to 3 because, once again, this was another week where, in spite of having a 33-7 win, it wasn't against a convincing team. The Texans are without, like I said, Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, but once again, this is another team that their record does give them 7-2 as well. And
then too, how we just said with Pittsburgh, against teams that you should
exactly
beat and beat convincingly, they're doing that.
Right.
We saw that with the Giants. We saw that this week with Houston. So despite what that team has going on, with given the fact the Giants and the Texans have all these injury issues and stuff,
they're beating them like they should be.
We don't care.
Exactly. And that's why the Steelers is where they're at for me, because, like you said, in spite for those teams, they don't have that execution. So, and that's why the Rams, they went down 1, but they're still right there at number 3 for me. At number 2, jumped up really good this week. Have New Orleans Saints at number 2.
I can respect that.
Because, like I said, the Saints, this was a team for me. They're 5-3. This is actually a pretty decent team, the Buffalo Bills. Their defense have been playing well. Their offense up and down. But for them to pull a running game on them as successfully as they did, they definitely have to go up in my book. This is probably, to me, this might be the best 7-2 team for me.
The best 7-2?
Arguably for me, the best
7-2 team.
Arguably.
So, we got a handful of 7-2 teams.
We do.
We got the Patriots. We got Minnesota. We got the Saints. We got the Rams. We got the Steelers.
Yeah. Right now,
if last I checked, the Patriots beat the Saints. The last team to beat them.
Yeah, they were 0-2. Yeah. And now look at them now.
So you say if they play again
honestly, I feel like if they play again right now, the Saints are going to win. And like I said, it's arguable, but I just they're on a tear right now. 7-win streak.
Minnesota beat them.
Week 1.
Week 1, yeah. But hey,
I'm just saying.
It's there.
Yeah, like
Minnesota
you said,
Minnesota wins their division. They finish with the same record.
They play.
They
get
Minnesota
in.
Gets the higher seed because by virtue of the tiebreaker.
Right. Okay. I mean, I get that. I'm just saying, just by this tear recently, I feel like they're a revamped team. Like the Saints team that lost the 2 first games didn't look like the Saints now.
And I agree with that.
So that's why I feel that way, because
we have it on
Yeah, on paper. Yeah,
you lost to the Vikings.
You lost
to the Patriots, who are both 7-2 teams.
Right.
So how are they?
If we had, I'm just saying.
I'm just playing devil's advocate right now.
No, you're right, and you're right, and I appreciate that because, like I said, the Minnesota Vikings is a 7-2 team that I really like right now, and that's the team that nobody's talking about.
Yeah,
and which was like how the Eagles were, and now they're the best team in the league right now. Mm-hmm. So, but it's just I really feel like just by how they're, especially now how they had the run game performance this week, I don't see a team that's going to convincingly beat them.
Okay.
So that's why they're at number 2. At number 1, it's pretty obvious. Remaining up there is Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they did have a bye week, usually I don't like to keep people in their same place for having a bye week.
Yeah,
but
you use that against them. They didn't play anybody.
Exactly. It's like you didn't play, but I mean, right now they're the best team in the league.
Rest. Even God rested on the 7th day.
Yeah. He did have one day off, so I can't drop him down because, like, hey, you could have done. You could have done something that day. That's your fault. But but yeah, that's my top 5 as it stands, man. So.
All right, man. So just kind of what we thought of who are among the best in the league right now. So basically, by virtue of the record, the AFC playoff picture right now. If the playoffs were to start today, we'll go from the bottom up this time.
Okay.
Number 6 wild card. First wild card team would be the Buffalo Bills at 5-4. Number 5, the second wild card would be the Jacksonville Jaguars at 6-3.
And this is the AFC.
This is the AFC right now. So the Jaguars and Bills will be in as wild cards. And you do know as wild cards you have to be road warriors all the way through. You don't get a home game.
Right.
You just got to go on. No matter who wins or loses, in case some major shakeups happen, the chances of you playing one at home is slim to none.
Yeah.
So then we get into our top 4 seeds, which will be your division leaders. Leading the AFC South right now would be the Tennessee Titans at number 4 in a game right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, leading the AFC West, would be the Kansas City Chiefs at 6-3. They were also on a bye. Also notice they weren't in my top 5 this week.
Not in mine either.
There at 6. I got them there right on the cusp.
Oh, for me, they're like 8 right now.
Oh, you pushed them
I pushed
all the
them
way down?
I still got I got the Panthers over them.
I got them at 6 and Carolina at 7.
Okay. I respect that.
Yeah. I think Carolina's working their way back up. They're dangerous.
You see, I feel like the Chiefs are working their way down.
It could be a downfall for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, because they looked really good to start the season.
Yeah.
So
number 2, leading the AFC East, the New England Patriots at 7-2.
Yep.
And then the 1 seed right now, if it were all records were in today, and with the home field advantage, would pretty much go to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 7-2, leading the AFC North. So that's how the AFC playoff picture would look with the top 6. Now in the hunt in the AFC, Miami at 4-5 now, and then you got Baltimore at 4-5 and Oakland at 4-5 on the outside looking in. So they need some major things to happen for them to work their way back into things, and they need to put together some wins to really work their way back up the rankings. For the NFC, first wild card would be the Carolina Panthers at 7-3. But their big win on Monday night, they just destroyed the Dolphins. Number 5 would be Seattle at 6-3. And those are 2 tough wild card teams to play, man.
Definitely.
So if you don't get one of those first 2 seeds and get that first week off, I mean, that's going to be a tough one for the Rams and the Saints.
Yeah.
Seattle coming into your building, Carolina coming into your building to play you. It's going to be tough.
And even though Carolina has the better record, and even though Seattle did just lose Richard Sherman, for me, if I was New Orleans, I would be more afraid of Seattle.
Right now?
Yeah. For the Rams,
I would too.
For the Rams, it's either way because, like I said, they're having a great season, but still, we don't know. It's a different beast whenever you're in the playoff season.
Yeah,
so
it is. And
as much as I want to give them the props, I mean,
and they're inexperienced.
Exactly.
So this will be a first-year head coach. This will be Jared Goff's first playoff start. A lot of those players, this will be their first taste of the playoffs. When you're playing a Carolina or Seattle team who's been to Super Bowl, Seattle's won a Super Bowl. Carolina's been to one, lost it, but they have the experience to know how to make a playoff run.
Exactly.
So at number 4, the Los Angeles Rams, leading the NFC West at 7-2. Number 3 would be the New Orleans Saints, leading the NFC South at 7-2. Number 2, right now, would be the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Because
Vikings.
What? They beat the New Orleans Saints. If they finish in a tie, they
That's
rank
true.
above them.
That's
so
true.
leading the NFC North at 7-2, the Minnesota Vikings would be the 2 seed right now in the NFC. Don't think I would have imagined that at the start of the year.
Right.
But they're there, and number 1, leading the NFC East Division, the Philly Eagles at 8-1. Now in the hunt right now, got a lot of in the hunt teams, and all these teams I think are worthy of going to the playoffs. You got Atlanta Falcons at 5-4, the Detroit Lions at 5-4, the Green Bay Packers at 5-4, and you got the Dallas Cowboys at 5-4. So all those teams are good. But the cool thing about it for Atlanta, they beat Detroit, they beat Green Bay, and they beat Dallas.
So they're at the top.
So they would be above all those teams because they played on the field this year and they won. And when you think about it, it's like Atlanta's having an up and down season, but they beat some pretty decent teams. I mean, they beat Green Bay when they had Aaron Rodgers. They beat $1 Million Matthew, and they beat. Now Dallas didn't have Zeke. I don't know if Zeke would have made the difference or not, but they still won. So they just need some upsets to happen, and they can kind of work their way back in right now. So that's pretty much how the playoff picture would look for both the AFC and NFC right now if it all were to start today. Both of our teams would be in.
That's right, man.
So,
hey,
yeah.
That's good for both teams, man. Puts us both in a good mood on that one.
Yeah, that gives us more to root for, more to keep talking about.
Exactly.
Come playoff time. So now we're going to go ahead
get to our Week 11 predictions.
To our Week 11 predictions. So Mr. C. Moody's going to take it over for me.
All right, man. We're going to try and shoot through this since, like we said, Thursday night is underway. And as of right now in the second quarter, Pittsburgh is up with the ball 10-7 against the Tennessee Titans. So, D. Moody, who do you have between these two? Who do you think is going to come out victorious?
It's really a tough one for me, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh just by virtue of them being at home. It is a short week. Anytime you're the road team, the odds kind of are not in your favor as much. Not saying it's not possible to go on the road and win, but Pittsburgh, the environment there. Now, we saw Jacksonville went up in there and just straight slaughtered them 30-9. But it's getting a little colder outside, and hits get a little harder.
That's true.
The ground is a little harder. And Pittsburgh is the steel city. They're made for these types of moments, these big primetime games. So I'm going to go with the Steelers to win this.
I want to go with you, but just to I really want to go with the Tennessee.
Tennessee's good. I mean, that's been one of these teams.
Don't tell me.
They have cost you a couple of wins this year. Because you just didn't believe in it. So don't let me sway your pick.
Shut your mouth. Yeah, I'm gonna go Pittsburgh.
So you went.
I'm gonna play safe. I'm playing safe. I'm going Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh.
It's getting down to as the old folk would say, the nitty gritty. It's getting down to the nitty gritty. I have no idea. That was just a very random ad that just popped up on my phone.
Really? Hey,
it could be a sense of. I don't know.
I don't know what that meant.
Changing of the guard. But so both of us went with Pittsburgh there.
Both of us going Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot the next game to you. Chiefs 6-3 versus the 1-8 Giants.
Chiefs coming off a bye week. Andy Reid is usually one of the better coaches in the league when it comes off a bye week. He has like a insane record after a bye week.
Definitely.
So I'm going to go with them over the Giants. I mean, I want the Giants to get a couple more wins, but I mean, I thought last week would have been a better opportunity.
To say the least.
To say the least, but I'm going to go with KC here.
Yeah, I'm going Oklahoma. I was about to say Oklahoma City.
Oh my
gosh. Kansas City. Yeah, I'm going Kansas City as well. All right, 5-4 Lions versus the 3-6 Bears going into Chicago.
This could be kind of a trap game because we know Chicago has been one of those kind of teams when you just think, oh, they'll win, and then they surprise teams. So this is a divisional opponent. Matthew didn't look too good against the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, for the sake of picking, I think they win.
Chicago? All right.
No, Detroit.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Detroit.
I was about to say.
I think Chicago's going to win the game, though.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah, I'm going Detroit because Matthew Stafford's going to have a great game this week.
I say that every week.
I'm saying it this week.
Okay. Let's see who else we got here. What's the next game you got?
Next game I have Baltimore Ravens against the Green Bay Packers. Ravens 4-5, Packers 5-4. They are going into Green Bay. Who do you have?
Ravens coming off a bye week as well. Could be building some momentum here for Hundley to get that first win under his belt. Could be kind of a boost of confidence for him. The Ravens again up and down. The last time we saw the Ravens play, it wasn't too good. I think they lost to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't trust Flacco, man. It's just something about me with him. I can't commit to him.
So what you got?
I'm going Green Bay to win this game.
Wow.
That's
going
my
Green
upset
Bay.
special of the week. Green Bay is going to win this football game.
I just tied this record. I'm going Baltimore.
Oh, you think Baltimore is going to do it?
Yeah, coming off the bye week, man, this defense is going to scare Hundley. They're still not the best defense as threatening as they used to
Ray
be.
Lewis
But
doesn't play anymore, right?
oh, of course. But, they're still Ravens' core defense. Like, Ray Lewis' spirit is somewhere in the midst of that defense. Not as effective, but it's in there.
I'm pretty sure his influence is still there.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna get into the big. For me, this might be the game of the week, honestly. Both teams 7-2. We have the Rams going into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And of course, for me, I'm gonna just go and say I'm going for my Rams to win this one.
It depends on who started. A lot has not been confirmed this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. With Teddy Bridgewater.
So I don't know where they're going to go with this.
I think where you need to go with this is to L.A. I'm just trying to help you, man. I don't want to come back and win by that much.
Minnesota's tough, man.
Oh, yeah.
Your boy Keenum and Goff, what if they have to hit it off?
They will. It will be a nice game. It's going to be a good passing game. And it's really going to, honestly, this game is going to boil down to defense and field goals.
And they have a reliable kicker.
Yep. But who's more reliable?
I'm saying the Rams have a very reliable kicker in Zerline. So.
And don't let our running game. I feel like the Vikings defense will shut down Gurley a little bit. But if they don't, if they allow Gurley, they start getting a little spark. That's gonna really make the difference if they allow Gurley to get a spark. But I feel like their defense is at least gonna hold the running game down, especially on both sides for me. And I still say it's gonna boil down to defensive field goals.
I'm gonna go with the Rams just for the sake of picking.
There you go.
But I really feel Minnesota's gonna win this game.
Hey,
you
man.
heard it here first. Just for the sake of picking to be on the safe side. I'm not going to go with the gut. And I'm going to roll with the Rams, but I think the Vikings are going to win.
There you go, man. 6-3 Jaguars are going into Cleveland to take on the winless Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland kind of bowled up against, but it's the Lions. So. Man, I want Cleveland to get a win. I'm sick of looking at this goose egg, man.
Hey.
And this coach is like, what, 1 in forever before he's had a win?
He should be like 1 in 26 now.
Man, I don't know what's going on in the state of Ohio with football.
Right. Everybody's too busy watching Cleveland. The Cavaliers, that's what it is.
They ain't really hitting on nothing either this year.
That's where the hope is at.
Ohio State kind of letting people down this year. High hopes there.
And they're trying to rebuild the Indians right now for next season.
The Indians are pretty much the only thing to brag about.
Exactly.
I'm going Jacksonville, man.
There you go.
I can't. They don't give me a reason. They're not the same old Jaguars anymore.
There you go. So next game,
both
of us are going Jacksonville.
Jacksonville,
yeah,
okay.
2 for Jackson. And now we have the 4-5 Cardinals going into Houston, Texas, to take on the Texans. The Cardinals 4-5, the Texans 3-6. As good of a quarterback.
The battle of the backups here.
Yeah, but
Drew Stanton versus Tom Savage.
For me, this game I'm going to give
Fitzgerald though, and you got AP. No J.J. Watt up front.
AP's still not playing great football.
We've seen some breakout. He's got it still left in the tank.
It's
kind of like the old Sega game where you had to take it in.
and just for it to play better.
To play better, to get it in. Okay, we're ready now. You know?
Oh, man. Now that you said that, it makes me a little nervous about my pick.
You ain't got old reliable.
I'm going Houston.
I'm going Arizona.
All right.
Larry Fitzgerald. AP might go off, break one off. So
yeah.
I'm going Houston.
I'm going Houston. I'm not saying that. I don't think that they can stop AP. I really think these games, AP's been stopping himself, honestly. So if he gets off, that's him. I still feel like they're...
You're like, good for him.
Right. But I feel like in between the two, I think the Texans still has a better defensive front to stop their offense before the Cardinals' defense to stop the Texans' offense.
Okay.
So,
what's next game we got?
Next, we have the 4-5 Washington Redskins are going into New Orleans to take on a 7-win streak. Fire come marching in. New Orleans Saints at 7-2. So I think for me, that's easy for me to say Saints.
Oh, how I want to be in that number. When the Saints go marching.
Saints come marching in.
I think this voodoo is working. They got going. You know, it's a lot of voodoo in New Orleans, and it's a strong, potent.
You is stupid.
Voodoo. So I'm gonna roll with the Saints to keep on rolling.
That's why Drew Brees has that scar on his face.
That won't never go away.
It's that Harry Potter scar.
What you went with them too?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going Saints.
So, right.
Next game we have the 3-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into Miami. Battle of Florida.
Yeah, this is a makeup of week 1. Remember?
That is right because of the storm, the hurricane.
This is really supposed to be their bye week for both of these teams.
Okay, 4-5 Dolphins. So, who do you have going for this game?
I think Miami's gonna get it right.
The Dolphins?
They let me down a couple times this year, but I think they're gonna. I like some of the flashes of what I'm seeing with this team. They just got to put it together, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Dolphins.
You going Dolphins too?
Definitely. So, next game we have the Buffalo Bills at 5-4 going into LA to take on the Chargers, who are 3-6 right now.
Also, news out of Buffalo. I don't know if you heard, but Tyrod Taylor has been benched.
Wow.
Yeah. Big change mid-season. 5-4, they bench him.
That's pretty weird.
I mean, you look at his performance against the Jets a few weeks back, and then what he did this week against the Saints. So I'm going Phillip. Because I don't know who this person is coming in.
I don't know who's the backup.
Yeah, I'm going to go roll with Phillip. I mean, I think Phillip's going to get it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Stop agreeing with me.
I'm sorry, man.
Stop trying to ride my coattail to stay close.
Hey, I got to do what you got to do sometimes when it gets hard. Next, we got the 3-6 Bengals taking on the Denver Broncos, who are also 3-6. Since you feel like I'm riding your coattails, I'm gonna go first with this one. I am going Bengals. I've been betting on them for the last couple of weeks, and just like the 49ers, it's time for them to get theirs.
This stuff getting interesting now. It's getting interesting. So you go Cincy.
I'm going Cincy.
Denver's going to end their losing streak.
You're going Denver?
Yep.
All right.
I don't trust Osweiler, but I think he can beat him.
Okay. That sounds good to me. All right. 7-2 Patriots are going into the Oakland, to the Old Town.
No, they're going to Mexico.
Oh, they playing in Mexico?
Yeah,
Ooh,
Mexico,
shut the door. A Mexico game. New England Patriots taking on the Oakland Raiders in Mexico. Raiders are 4-5, while the Patriots are 7-2. Who do you have? As much as I want to go with the Raiders, I am going New England.
And I think you already know. I don't even have to say without reason.
You sure you don't want to go Oakland? All right, that's two tickets to New England, please. And the last game for Sunday, we have the 8-1 Philly Eagles taking on a really good 5-4 team in the Cowboys, but they are without Ezekiel Elliott. Philly. 2 tickets for Philly.
Yeah, we have agreed on a lot.
We really have.
This weekend. So the ones that we didn't agree are going to make that much more.
It really is. I mean, we have one more game now. Monday Night Football. 5-4 Falcons and the Seattle Seahawks 6-3.
Where's this game at?
In Seattle. Unless it's some random third place. I don't know this time. But I think it's going to be in Seattle. Boom, 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 boom.
I gotta go to Seattle.
I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going to Atlanta. I think
even though Seattle's got some rough issues with their defense.
Exactly. I think
that's being there with that 12th man, the crowd noise.
Yeah, Seattle's
possibility of rain. It always seems like it always rains in Seattle. Even though Atlanta almost went in there and won last year, this is not the same Atlanta team, though.
This isn't the same Seattle team either.
It's not, but...
I mean, Russell has starting to regain composure of who he is, but I feel like Matt Ryan's getting back to who he is as well, so I feel like it should be a good quarterback game. I feel like Russell's feet is going to make the difference as far as their offensive performance, but for whatever reason, I feel like the Falcons are going to take it from me.
Okay.
And I could be wrong. Like I said, I really do believe in Russell Wilson. That's going to be the big difference that's going to make it for Seattle. Okay. But, yeah, I'm going Falcons.
All right.
So, that's what it stands.
So, 90-56 for me?
90-56 for you. For me, C. Moody, 89-57. One game behind.
I think I'm going to hit the 100 mark. I'm going to break into triple digits this week.
So you think you got 10 wins right here?
I think I got close to 9 or 10.
Well, I mean, we've only disagreed on 4 games, so I'll be right behind you. So if you get more than 10...
then you right there with me.
Hopefully.
See, that's your game plan going in. I'm trying to get to 100 before you.
Now, that's good. If you don't get a lot right, then I'm right behind you, too. So if we both don't break 100...
yeah, we even.
Like I said, it's only 1, 2, 4 games we bet different on. So
we'll have to see how it goes. It's been a tough season down the stretch here. We got a couple more weeks to go, so we'll see how it all pans out. So that's gonna wrap up our NFL segment. We've covered everything from last week's games. We talked about who our top 5 was, how the playoff pictures are looking at this point. We gave you some updates on the Thursday night game that's going on right now, and give you another quick little update on that.
As of right now, they're about 3 minutes away from halftime. Pittsburgh is still up 10-7.
It's like a stalemate there.
I should have went with Tennessee.
Looks like it. And then we talked about who we think is going to win this week. So we're going to wrap up the NFL segment. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get into some college football. Who is now the new top 4 of the college football playoff rankings? We do know last week Georgia went down as well as Notre Dame. So we're going to talk about those games and who's in the top 4 and the top 10 in college football. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to Sports Moods, 2 Moodies.
1 Duty.
Sports.
We'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sports Moods. 2 Moodies.
1 Duty.
Sports. You're here with D. Moody and
C. Moody.
And right now we've already covered everything NFL. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into college football as it's getting down to the wire to try to determine who's going to be the Final Four to try to play for the coveted national championship. So we had some big games this week, some major upsets, and we're going to start off with the first one. Number 3, Notre Dame on the road going down to South Beach in Hard Rock Stadium to face off with the Miami Hurricanes. The U is back, and that turnover chain has really been on full display for us all to see the last couple of weeks for the Hurricanes. They rout Notre Dame 41-8. Rozier, 15 out of 24, 137 yards, a TD pass. He also ran for 1. DJ Dallas ran for 2 scores for the Hurricanes. Homer also ran for 146 yards on 18 carries. Wimbush for the Irish, 10 out of 21, 119 yards, a touchdown, did throw 2 picks in the game. One was a pick 6 that really kind of opened things up for the Hurricanes and that turnover chain. They were just overwhelmed in this game by the Hurricanes. They pretty much put the committee on notice this week with this type of win. The only caveat for me for Miami at this point is all of their tough games that they've played have been at home.
Oh, man.
So they haven't really been challenged much on the road. So they didn't really schedule a lot of tough road games this year. But, they're still playing really good football. They're still one of the few undefeated teams, in the top tier, this season.
Right.
Miami is now headed to the ACC championship game, wrapping up the Coastal Division. And they're going to be facing off with Clemson on December the 2nd. And this should decide, to me, who goes to the playoff for the ACC. Since we haven't seen both of these teams on the field yet to kind of determine, it kind of makes sense to give both of them strong consideration. But I think that ACC championship game could be the determining factor of who is going to go and be in the top 4. Now, for head coach Brian Kelly of the Notre Dame, he was just, in his presser, he was just like, hey, man, we didn't see this coming. We weren't prepared to play at a high level. So this loss for Notre Dame opens the door for Wisconsin, Oklahoma, and Miami to try to nudge their way into the top 4, because we know the past 2 weeks, Notre Dame was in the top 4. So now this is their second loss of the season. And keep in mind, they don't have a conference championship game. So to fall back on to try to redeem themselves. So once they play out their schedule, they're done until they go to whatever bowl game there is to go to if they don't make the playoffs. So I really don't see them making the playoff now, given the fact that Miami has handled them the way that they did. The loss to Georgia really looked really good, but now the way Georgia looked, which we're about to get into, kind of doesn't do it justice either.
Right. Because
they got blown out. So moving on into it, Georgia, number 1 ranked Georgia, went on the road to number 10 Auburn and pretty much got pummeled by the Tigers, 40-17. Georgia's first loss of the season. And the thing Kirby Smart had to say at the end of the game for the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs was, humility is always a week away.
Ooh.
Now, I love the way he said that. They were built up to be the best team in the nation, and then just like that, in a snap of a finger, in a 3-hour period, you're brought right back down to reality.
Yeah.
So the Tigers stay in the playoff hunt. And now, remember how I was saying earlier in the year, I don't really see a 2-loss team potentially getting in. But the way Auburn has looked against Georgia, and they played Clemson really tough earlier this year, even though they lost a close one to Clemson.
Yeah.
And if they beat Bama, I think you got to put Auburn in there, man.
You think so?
Yeah,
especially if they beat Bama.
If they beat Bama.
Considering they beat Georgia.
And then they may have to play Georgia again in the SEC championship. So I don't know if that'll be a different outcome.
Right.
Most of the time, the SEC championship game is played in Atlanta, so that could be somewhat of a home field advantage for the Bulldogs, being in their home state. Being if Auburn can get past Bama, I think they have strong consideration even over undefeated Wisconsin, even if Wisconsin's undefeated at the end of the year. Yeah, just the fact of how they played Clemson really close, slaughtered Georgia, and if they can get past Bama and potentially go on to win the SEC championship for Auburn, they need to win out from here to go. For me. But they're very much in the playoff hunt. And they really did a good job of making Nick Chubb, the star running back for the Bulldogs, a non-factor in this game. He only had 11 carries for 27 yards. Georgia had to throw the ball more because they were behind. So usually Georgia kind of establishes themselves as a run-dominant team, but when you get down on the scoreboard, you got to kind of throw the ball a little bit more. And the Gamecocks kind of showed you last week, try to make Jake Fromm beat you through the air, which he hasn't really proven himself a lot, because he's always relied on the run game to kind of support him as he throws.
Yeah.
But in this game, Fromm was 13 of 28, 184 yards, did have a touchdown pass. Wims, the receiver, had 3 receptions for 96 yards. But for the Auburn Tigers, Stidham, 16 of 23, 214 yards, 3 passing touchdowns on the game. Cade Johnson carried the ball 32 times for 167 yards. And he also had 2 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown in the game. And the head coach of the Auburn Tigers pretty much said, they seized the moment. We're still alive. Pretty much. He said, we're still alive. So basically, they're just fighting to play another week. So at this point, Georgia just pretty much had a mistake-ridden game. I mean, and the thing is, you see these lopsided losses on the road. These are young 19, 20-year-old players going on a roll in big college football environments, and sometimes the stage is just a little too big for them.
Yeah.
And that's what it looked like for me, for Notre Dame and Georgia, for both of these teams to be in the top 4 and then to get handled the way that they did. The pressure was just too much for them going on the road and losing the games the way that they did. Speaking of another tough road test, number 2 Bama on the road versus number 16 Mississippi State. The Bulldogs hung tough with the Tide, but a late touchdown by Bama gives them the victory. Bama's first win versus a ranked opponent since playing number 3 Florida State to open up the season.
Wow.
Yeah. Here's some of the stats in the game. Bama's now 10-0 on the season. Jalen Hurts went 10 of 19, 242 yards, a touchdown pass in the game. Their running back Harris had 8 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. And then the receiver Ridley had 5 receptions for 171 yards receiving. Now for the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Fitzgerald 13 out of 24, 158 yards through the air. Williams carried the ball for the Bulldogs 22 times, 97 yards rushing. Did get 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. But at the end of the game, Bama put together a 6-play, 68-yard drive in 44 seconds for the go-ahead touchdown to win the game. Now, the only caveat for Bama, they're going to be in it. But a lot of times, like we said, this year, Bama hasn't played a lot of ranked teams.
And to see how they, for Mississippi State to be 16 and they're just pulling out this win, that's not really showing me any confidence in how they're going to execute for the rest of the
and this is a tough road test. And then my thing, too, like most of the time, if you follow Bama since Nick Saban's been there, probably the last 4 or 5 years or so, most of the time, they never schedule tough road games.
Right.
They'll play non-conference games, but they're always at a neutral site. When they played Florida State, I thought it was in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome, not the Georgia Dome anymore, it's the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Right.
So they play there, and then they think they should schedule more non-conference games to give them a better chance to have a better looking resume at this point. So the next game that we have is number 6 TCU going on the road versus number 5 Oklahoma. This was a pretty convincing win for Oklahoma. I know I give Oklahoma a tough time a lot of times because they're always playing like a shootout style game, 49-42 finals or 62-52 last week. So this week they kind of do it a little bit more convincingly, the conventional way. 38-20 was the final score over TCU. Baker Mayfield, 18 out of 27, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns. In his career, since being with Oklahoma, Baker Mayfield is 9-0 in the month of November.
Wow.
So he usually, when it comes to being clutch and getting the big victories when you need them, he's the guy you want to have in November. And then their head coach feels like, hey, we haven't hit our peak yet. So to be this late in the game and feel like, hey, we still haven't played our best football yet.
That's playoff run right there.
Yeah, that's playoff run. They say, hey, we still got more to show you type thing. Their running back Anderson had 23 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also, he had 5 receptions in the game, 139 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he was pretty much a double threat in this game. Carried the ball 23 times, ran for over $150, 2 rushing touchdowns, then caught the ball for over 100 yards on just 5 receptions and 2 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he was big for the Sooners in this game. And TCU just didn't have an answer for it. And their coach pretty much said, hey, we spotted them too many points early. And coming into the game, TCU had the 6th ranked scoring defense in the country. And, he just felt like their coach, Patterson, just kind of felt like, hey, we spotted them way too many points early. We had to play from behind.
Yeah. So
right now, with the win, Oklahoma has sole possession of first place in the Big 12. So kind of anxious to see how far they're going to move up the Sooners after that big win. Next game I have number 4, Clemson at Florida at home versus Florida State. They did get the victory 31-14. Kelly Bryant, 20 of 30, 151 yards passing. Travis Etienne, 14 carries, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns. For Florida State, Blackman was 13 of 32, 208 yards, a touchdown, and a pick in the game. And as far as Dabo Swinney talking about his running back, Etienne, this is a pretty cool thing to say about someone, that plays football. He says, Etienne runs like his head is on fire. I know how some people say you run with a chicken with your head cut off, but I've never heard anyone say he runs like his head is on fire.
That's deep.
That's deep. So imagine your head, where would you
No, I don't know.
So I can't even imagine, but I guess that's how Dabo feels about it.
I guess you're trying to find water that's cool it down. So.
Just hey. But, so yeah, that's what Dabo had to say about his running back. Right now, Clemson had a 17-0 lead in this game over Florida State. So Florida State battled. They had a couple of turnovers down the stretch Clemson had to kind of allow Florida State back into the game. But then they were able to pull away again. Clemson was and hold them off for the victory. They are headed to the ACC championship game. Once again, 5 of the last 9 years, Clemson under Dabo Swinney has gone to the ACC championship game.
Wow.
So he's really developing a nice little decade of football in the ACC under his belt for Dabo Swinney.
Right.
So Clemson gets the win. They're 9-1 on the season. In other scores, we had number 15 Oklahoma State over number 21 Iowa State, 49-42. Michigan State walloped by Ohio State, 48-3. Penn State beats Rutgers, 35-6. USC Trojans over the Colorado Buffaloes, 38-24. Washington State, number 19, 33-25 over Utah. Number 25 Northwestern, 23 over Purdue's not even ranked. 23-13 over Purdue. Michigan defeated Maryland 35-10. LSU ranked number 24, 33-10 over Arkansas. And right here at home for us here in South Carolina, the Gamecocks over the Florida Gators 28-20 to move to 7-3 on the season. Again, the Gamecocks are bowl eligible. Just some feedback off their win. It was one of their most balanced attacks all season from a rushing and passing standpoint. They passed the ball for over 200 yards and rushed the ball for over 200 yards. The tandem of Turner and Denson ran well, and Jake Bentley had 19 completions for 249 yards passing. So that was just some of the big performances from the week that was. Some big upsets. We saw Georgia fall. We saw Notre Dame fall. So now we're going to get into the top 10, and then we're going to unveil to you the college football playoffs top 4. So right now, based off the top 10 rankings, Oklahoma State is at number 10 at 8-2. Notre Dame would fall all the way from grace here all the way down to number 9 at 8-2. Ohio State at 8-2 at number 8. Number 7 Georgia at 9-1. Number 6 Auburn at 8-2. Number 6 Auburn at 8-2. I had to look at that again. Okay. Number 5 Wisconsin undefeated at 10-0. Number 4 Clemson at 9-1. Number 3 Oklahoma at 9-1. And number 2 Miami at 9-0. And number 1 is Bama at 10-0 in the top 10 AP poll. So now it's time to unveil to you, which you guys probably already know by it being Thursday already, but in case you didn't get a chance to figure out who would be in if the college football playoff were to start today, we're going to work our way up from 4 to 1. Number 4, Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma Sooners at number 4. Number 3, the U. Miami Hurricanes breaking up in here. We in here.
I'm telling you.
And rightfully so, undefeated on the season. Huge primetime win over Notre Dame. Just pretty much beat them down. Didn't let up. Really looking forward to seeing this ACC championship game with them and Clemson. Number 2, the devil, the Clemson Tigers.
Clemson Tigers right there.
Defending national champions. At number 2, I mean, they've had a bevy of wins this season versus ranked opponents going back to the ACC championship game. The only little hiccup they had was to Syracuse. And then since then, seems like they're right back on track to where they need to be.
Right.
And number 1, obviously.
Go ahead and say it.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. Big Bad Bama is number 1. But this is the first time since they've come out with the college football playoff rankings that they have been
That's true.
number 1, because the past couple of weeks they've had Georgia over them. So Bama's there. That would be your top 4 right now. Bama, Clemson, Miami, and Oklahoma. And the only thing, and for those of you who follow us on Twitter at SportsMoods, I kind of went off on a rant a little bit.
Oh.
I pretty much feel Oklahoma should be over Miami. Now, I know Oklahoma has a not so great defense. They win by shootouts, but they have quality road wins. They went into Ohio State.
First game.
Beat Ohio State. Beat them down in the horseshoe. And then they went on the road and beat Oklahoma State as well. Another top 10 team.
Yeah.
And as I was saying earlier, then they just got finished beating TCU, another top 10 team. So that's 3 wins versus top 10 teams this season for Oklahoma. And their only loss was to Iowa State, who actually looks pretty decent this year because they've knocked off some pretty good teams this year as well.
Yeah.
So, and in Miami, all of their wins have been, tough ones have been at home. So they haven't been on the road and beat anybody good on the road.
Right.
That's the only thing I would do is just move Oklahoma over the top of them. But I like the the idea of what Miami is doing, not to take anything away from them. I think their defense has forced 16 turnovers over the last 4 games. Do you know they have this turnover chain they have that goes around?
Yeah, I like that.
I love the idea of that. I mean, they like put the chain on. You go out there and force a turnover. Hey, you get to wear the chain to the next person get the turnover. And
that's dope to me. I really like that.
So it's a sense of motivation for them. Now, the first 2 out would be Wisconsin at 10-0. So they're getting close consideration, but just by virtue of their schedule being so weak.
Yeah.
They did get a nice little win over Iowa this week, though. So it wasn't that, and Iowa we just saw just destroy Ohio State a couple weeks ago. And then number 6 would be Auburn sitting there, who just destroyed Georgia. So it just depends on how things shake out the next couple weeks. Wisconsin could make it, but I feel like if Auburn wins out and one of the core 4 that's in there now slips up, Auburn could jump in. I think Clemson controls their own destiny. The only thing they have left to do is to possibly beat Miami, and they should be good. But a lot of people are making the argument that, hey, if Clemson and Miami plays a tough one and it's close, virtue both of them could go.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair, but it could depend.
What do you do?
I mean, it depends on how the committee looks at it.
Right.
And then depending on what happens with Bama and Auburn, a lot of people feel Georgia has a potential chance to get in there too if they finish out the season strong and potentially beat a Bama in the SEC championship game if they go.
Yeah.
So right now we're going to turn over to C. Moody for his Heisman high five.
All right, guys. If the Heisman was to go today, this is the list of who would be in the top 5 and who would win the Heisman as of today. Starting at number 5, we have Jonathan Taylor, running back for Wisconsin. He had a nice rushing total, 157 in his last game against Iowa. For the season, he has 1,525 rushing yards, 12 rushing touchdowns. At number 4, and we can see now more of the quarterbacks are starting to take back a hold into this top 5 in the Heisman. Lamar Jackson, in this past week, not only had 195 through the air, but 147 more on the ground. In this weekend's game, he became the first player in FBS history with 3,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing in two separate seasons. Wow. So for this season total, he has 3,003 passing yards with 21 passing touchdowns. At number 3, we have Khalil Tate, the quarterback for Arizona, having a 100-yard rushing game. So, but his total for the season for quarterback is 998 passing yards. Next game is guaranteed to pretty much break that 1,000 yards mark with 8 passing touchdowns. But his quarterback rating is 155.5. At number 2, we have Bryce Love, the running back for Stanford, battling through his ankle injury this past week, still pulled up 166 yards and 3 touchdowns against Washington. For his season, he has 1,622 yards total, 15 rushing touchdowns. And at number 1, remaining up there, Baker Mayfield, quarterback for Oklahoma, just still having an amazing week, especially after he pulled up 3 passing touchdowns and 333 yards passing against TCU. For the season, he has 3,559 total passing yards and 31 passing touchdowns.
Man, my boy Saquon Barkley
He dropped
really hard. I was just really ready to just wrap it all up and give it to him, and it just seems like...
Well, he's number 6. I won't say he's totally dropped. He's just out the top 5 right now.
Yeah, I guess because the team isn't really...
Exactly.
And I know sometimes the way your team is performing sometimes can take away. But I really feel like the Heisman is just your personal performance. Right. Your team shouldn't
totally be based off of my team's record. If I did good.
Yeah, and he put up some earth-shattering numbers. I mean, that's where it should be. But, I mean, he still may get some consideration. It just depends on how they finish the year and how he finishes his season. But right now it looks like it's Baker Mayfield's. But I just feel like just by virtue of what Saquon Barkley has done, it's kind of hard to argue against Baker Mayfield because he's playing really well. He has to play at a high level because of the Big 12. It's a shootout league, so It's not much defense that's being played in that league. And then he's know what it's like to be in the Heisman race. So, I mean, he could be closing in on his first Heisman Trophy. And I don't think Oklahoma has had a quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy since Jason White.
Oh, wow.
Did it back in the early 2000s. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
So Adrian Peterson wrapped one up for them, and I think and Sam Bradford. No, I take that back. Sam Bradford did win one as well. So, I mean, Oklahoma's been known to produce some Heisman players, but, I mean, it looks like it's his to win.
Definitely.
Some upcoming games, right quick. I didn't know if you had anything else.
No, I'm good.
Upcoming games for this week, Michigan versus Wisconsin, Wofford versus South Carolina here back at home, Citadel versus Clemson. So the big core colleges here in South Carolina kind of playing the smaller schools within the state. Number 6, TCU versus Texas Tech. Number 17, Virginia Tech on the road versus Pittsburgh. Number 21, Ohio State, but Iowa State versus Baylor. Notre Dame looks to rebound versus Navy. Penn State versus Nebraska. Maryland versus Michigan State looking to rebound after they got beat down pretty bad by Ohio State. LSU versus Tennessee. News out of Tennessee, Butch Jones is out as their head coach. So we've already seen 2 coaches already relieved of their duties in the SEC with Florida and now Tennessee as well. NC State versus Wake Forest, Mercer versus Alabama, and USC versus UCLA, the Battle of Los Angeles there.
Yeah.
So those are some upcoming games. That's what we have for college football this week. We kind of went over some of the big upsets and the big matchups, gave you the top 10, and revealed to you the college football playoff top 4, and then some Heisman high fives, and then the upcoming games this week on the schedule in college football. So we're going to wrap this segment up. When we come back, we're going to update you on the Steelers and Titans game going on right now, Thursday Night Football. Now we're getting ready to get into the WWE, getting close to the Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Some big shift of power there. AJ Styles, the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. We got a new SmackDown Live Women's Champion. All things Survivor Series, SmackDown versus Raw coming up next on Sports Moods.
We'll be back. Wait. There we go. And we are back. Sports Moods, 2 Moodies.
1 duty.
Sports, man. We have covered so far everything that is football week 10, even giving our week 11 predictions early because of the fact that as we're going on now, at halftime between the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are up 16-7. So we went ahead and gave our week 11 predictions early because of the fact that we are in it now. D Moody, what else you got to add?
Also, right now in the NBA, we got a nice little showdown going on between the Golden State Warriors and the streaking Boston Celtics. 13-game winning streak for the Celtics on the line tonight. 74-74 right now with about 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. You can tune into this game on TNT. This game is being played in Boston, so we'll see if the Celtics can find a way to knock off the defending champs. Right now, it looks like for the Warriors, Klay Thompson has 10 points right now, and so does Draymond Green, leading the way for the Warriors. And then we're going to try to look at what this game looks like right now. Right now, the Warriors having kind of a both teams not shooting the ball extremely well, especially Boston only shooting 32% from the field. Golden State 41%. Boston 7 of 29 from 3-point range.
Whew.
I mean, you would think Golden State would be the one shooting the ball almost 33-point attempts in a game, but they've only shot 21 threes and made 33% of them, and Boston is 24% from 3-point range. So.
I was saying, get this between the two. The hype of this game was the matchup between Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving. Both players coming in. Steph Curry averaging 25.2 points per game. Kyrie averaging 20.6. But in this game so far, Kyrie only has 5 points, and on the other end, Steph Curry only has 4.
Yeah, and that's why I said Draymond and Clay has 10 apiece for the Warriors. So.
And Al Horford on the other end has 16 for the Celtics. And Markieff Morris, one of the two twins. I think I said the right one. Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris is the twin. I know it's two.
Gave yourself credit. He was like,
I was like, hey, I know it's one of the twins.
I had it.
Marcus Morris. He has 12 coming on the Celtics side of the ball. So that game is what's going on now. Later on tonight, we have the Rockets versus the Suns. And the Rockets has the leading scorer in the league, James Harden, who has 30.7 points per game. Also leads in threes made with 4.3 of the season so far.
Wow.
So should be a good game for him. The Suns are 5-10, so it should be a blowout.
Yep. Should.
So now we're going to get into some good old wrestling. We're going to get into Monday Night Raw, Tuesday's SmackDown Live, but the hype right now is both of these are the go-home shows for this Sunday's pay-per-view Survivor Series, which I personally am extremely excited for. So, getting into Monday Night Raw, it kicks off with Stephanie McMahon coming out, once again bashing Kurt Angle, doing all this stuff, and she doesn't like how the New Day get in, last week if he was making all this hype. And then the Shield comes in. He's like, and they let them know that, you know what, we're going to take out the Shield. Stephanie, you don't tell anybody what to do. Don't bash Kurt Angle. And last time we seen her, Triple H put it through a table, accidentally, of course. But hey, that's what that was, and they're like, we're gonna destroy them. Y'all worry about Team Red, Team Blue. We're just gonna take out New Day. That's how we kicked it off.
I'm surprised you didn't do a congressional congratulations for Roman Reigns being back. First time we seen Roman.
It is, man. But I told you my hype now is to get up, and I expected it, even though he's been out sick. And because of his concerns about him maybe or may not making it to Survivor Series is kind of what, as far as what Wrestle Talk TV on YouTube kind of led into saying that's why they went with adding Jason Jordan, which we found out was somebody else later on in the night, is because, that kind of put fear into him. And if they could still do the Shield versus New Day, because if Roman Reigns wouldn't be there, they can just do the 2-on-2. Seth, Dean, Kofi, however they did the New Day's 2 on that side.
Do that match,
so you can still do a 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and it still equals Shield New Day. True. So I like that because, they were playing off of whether his health was, his health concerns.
And he had the same question I had when he saw Stephanie, like where have you been?
Right.
Like, where do you get off coming here trying to run something when you been out all these months and now you trying to come back?
Now you want to act like it's everybody else's fault, but if you had a problem, you should have been here.
Yeah.
So I like that. And
where were you when we were under siege?
Right. So that's a good question.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that's going to play into some tension between the McMahons and the Shield again. Really? So, but hey, who knows? So now we have this triple threat match that sees who will be the fifth woman between Mickie James, Bayley, and Dana Brooke. Which the speculation from Wrestling Talk TV as well was that Paige, a returning Paige, was going to come. And so, but I've heard also that she's already has heat backstage. And what happened was she started posting a lot of pictures of her backstage with the other women wrestlers, and like kind of adding her own expectations into coming back, and they said that actually aggravated like backstage people instead of allowing her to do it. It was like, if anybody's going to pull that speculation off, let it be the website themselves. So that's kind of what dropped the idea, which we don't know for sure. That's just what back resources. Gotcha. So, but the triple threat match, I mean, it pretty much is what I expected would happen now that there is no Bayley to add in. Bayley wins, reversing the Mick DDT into a Bayley bomb, and she becomes the 5th member, which I was actually hoping that Dana Brooke actually would get it. I just like her strength into it. But I'm glad they are using Bayley, because I hate that they've been cheaping her, like kind of blackballing her. And it also, we saw the upcoming feud between Asuka and Dana Brooke. When she fell outside, Asuka kind of looked like she wanted to help her up. Dana just...
That confused me, though.
It was weird. Yeah, I didn't like that.
I don't see Asuka as being the...
helpful.
Oh, let me help you. You okay?
Right.
I mean...
And I feel like maybe because Dana pushed her, maybe it could have been like Asuka was like, get up, you're weak. Like, maybe it was like her kind of bashing her to get back into the fight. And that led into Asuka end up kicking her head off on the other side of the ring. So, but either way, we now have the complete 5 women's Raw. It is now Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and who was the 5th member? Asuka. Of course, Asuka. So then we have the tag team cruiserweight match between Enzo Amore, Drew Gulak versus Kalisto and Akira Tozawa, which we found out that Tuesday night was Kalisto's birthday. So in this, for it to be a good match, also like seeing Tozawa doing a suicide dive through Kalisto's leg. Enzo Amore actually knocks Drew down. No, Kalisto knocks Drew down, but he throws Akira into Kalisto and hits the Jaldunzo for the W. That's how Enzo Amore and Drew Gulak still gets a clean win coming into Survivor Series, where it will be the only championship match that's on the line between Enzo Amore, who is the current cruiserweight champion, versus Kalisto. And so next we have Miz TV. He brings with his Miztourage. He brings in Sheamus Cesaro, but after he shoots on his upcoming Survivor Series match against Baron Corbin, calling him, unimportant, all this stuff backstage. And he did a couple of good shoots. Bathroom break champion. That's a good point. I meant to say that. But yeah, then Sheamus and Cesaro say that they're going to show how they're the real tag teams. And Usos are just on a cute little B show, and the 3 will beat the Shield later on that night and whatever. And that's pretty much how that ended. Bray Wyatt returns. First match on TV since he's been one of the first cases of illness, actually, with him and his brother and his girlfriend JoJo. And he goes against Jason Jordan. This was to see if Jason Jordan deserves to be the 5th member that Stephanie put him in, or Kurt put him in. And during this match, he wins, but it looks like Bray Wyatt kind of injured his leg, and he actually hits him into, I think he rolls it up. Yeah, he does a roll up while Bray Wyatt tries to hit the Sister Abigail. Bray starts to show the more demented side that he should have always had, and he starts to attack Jason Jordan, smashing his knee into the turnbuckle. But not even funny, it actually kind of sad for me. The crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Wyatt," when they beat up his leg and hit it into, him trying to look like he can barely walk out. And they're like, started singing, "Na na na na, goodbye," like as he's going up the ramp. And I was like, this crowd is just, I understand we don't like Jason Jordan. They're pushing us down, pushing him down our throat, says whatever. But I mean, as much as we know WWE can stage injuries, that some sympathy, please.
Yeah. I think they probably was sensing that, hey, Jordan could be a thing where we actually lose him from the match. Yeah.
So, so Curtis, of course, tending to his son. He thinks he's not ready now, but Jason starts to be like, "Hey, man, you used to fight injured." And then he, for once in months since we heard him talk to Kurt, he's like, "Don't let me lose this chance, Dad." And when you said "Dad," it actually touched my heart. I was like, Kurt, man.
Get this mushy stuff off my TV.
Oh, man. I was like, man, maybe we should let him play. Maybe what'll happen is this will build up Jason to have this breakout match during Survivor Series.
You know how I felt when they picked him last week, I was just like, why? He doesn't even fit in.
Of course he didn't fit.
You know, I mean, he had, what has he done?
Nothing.
To get in that match. He lost to Reigns, he lost to Cena. He had good looking matches against him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's lost
That's
to
what
Finn
it was.
Balor.
It was
Anytime
a good match.
he's faced anybody good, he's lost. And other than rolling up Finn Balor,
yeah,
and then going back and forth and hitting Elias with a guitar, that earns you the right.
Which
to
that
go
was a
on the
weak
Raw
feud.
team.
That was a really weak feud.
Yeah.
So yeah. So next we have the Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman promo, which was, of course, it's always a good promo with Paul Heyman. He sells like the match or whatever. The first and maybe only time we'll see this. But then while they're doing this, somebody is actually proposing. Mm-hmm. And you hear the crowd start chanting, "She says yes," and they're celebrating.
That was the best part.
Paul Heyman decides to stop his shoot, goes, looks out, leans out the ring, and he says, "Go ahead."
I love Paul Heyman, man. He don't care.
He said the only reason she says yes is because she's never been this close to a beast. That's so disrespectful.
And then he was like, "If you think the marriage proposal is gonna stop my promo." It's just like stepping in the ring with Brock Lesnar. You ain't no got a chance.
Oh my gosh, that was just brilliant. Like, Paul Heyman is the best talker.
I love when we have those real life moments, like when they just like put it to the side. Because a lot of times they don't pay attention to what the crowd.
Yeah, they try to just ignore it.
And it's kind of like the thing with the beach ball.
Yeah,
remember how the beach ball was going around the crowd?
And Cesaro finally decided to go out and destroy it. I love that. Now that was, like you said, when they interact with the crowd in the random times, that's what really sells it.
Yeah, it makes it fun.
Yeah. So then he goes back to proclaiming that Brock is the number one champ. Then, now, forever, kind of taking a notion from how they start up their shows now with the WWE logo. And this is not going to be a Rocky movie where AJ's the underdog coming out victorious. He's going to once again be victimized by Brock Lesnar. So then we have the Shield versus the Miz, and pretty much to say the least, in a good match. 2 Superman punches on Cesaro, dirty deeds on Sheamus, and a spear and triple powerbomb on the Miz, and we have the Shield.
How many Supermans did we see?
2 Superman punches, all on Cesaro. Just two. So 2 Superman punches, a dirty deeds, a spear, and a triple powerbomb for the win, which was their first time wrestling as the original Shield.
Which was supposed to be at TLC.
But because of his sickness,
I mean, and to be honest with you, what really made me laugh during this match is how Miz ran through the crowd. Did you see?
Oh, yeah.
He ran literally through the whole crowd.
He really did take off.
But my thing is, he's such a coward, man.
He is. And he sells it so well.
He does. He sells it so well. It's just like, okay, now you're here by yourself, and they still ended up with just him.
Right.
At the end, and they just did it, man.
So, and then the best, besides the Brock Lesnar promo, this probably was the best promo for me for the night. Kurt Angle comes in to get ready to remove Jason. Jason comes hobbling down.
Go ahead.
Okay, he comes hobbling down and whatever. And he's like, once again, he talks about how Kurt fought injured and he still won a friggin' gold medal. Like how Kurt always used to say, with a broken friggin' neck. And so how much of a dream this is going to be for him. And he also keeps saying that he won't ever get another chance at this, which I feel like was a real life shoot that was saying that, hey, I might never make it to a pay-per-view unless somebody really pushes me. And so, you gotta. So first, Stephanie McMahon, she's like, Kurt, don't tell me you're actually listening to this. Like, do what you're supposed to do. And then Jason's like, Kurt, come on, Dad. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when Kurt's like stuck, you hear. In comes Triple H, and he just is mad as fire. He's like, if you won't say it, I'll say it. The 5th member is me. And then he stares down Kurt Angle like, okay, you good now? And Kurt's like, he's like kind of whimpering back. He's like nodding, and then while he walks out, he pedigrees Jason. Like,
can I just? Thank you.
So wrong, man.
It felt like a soap opera when we were up there talking.
It kind of was.
Just like, why we do, like, Jason, you know you were injured. You won a freaking gold medal. You were injured.
But you know what? What Wrestle Talk TV said, and I think it might actually be a good thing for Jason, that this might set up not only a heel turn for him, because now if Triple H is back to stay consistent, now he has this feud against Triple H. And not only that, he can also take that heat against Kurt Angle and be like, you were my father and you went against me, so maybe now he has a heel against
Triple
them
H
as a unit.
Make him turn on his dad.
That could be too. And you know what? And here's a good thing now. This actually might really be a good thing for Jason Jordan. Usually when Triple H, or what we've seen recently, when Triple H personally, or McMahon's in general, personally interact in some kind of fashion with a storyline of somebody, they're going to push him. Mm-hmm. Like we saw that when Kevin Owens with that Universal match against Seth Rollins, that really exploded Kevin Owens. Mm-hmm. What else? The whole situation with when Vince McMahon later came and did the same thing with Kevin Owens. Yeah. I can't think who Triple H was last. The thing personally doing Seth Rollins, him,
and then how they used to do Daniel Bryan all the time too.
Yeah.
They used to make him the underdog, and then they just pushed him.
And that built him up.
Yeah.
The thing with me is, though, unlike Seth Rollins, unlike Kevin Owens, unlike Daniel Bryan, with Jason Jordan, he doesn't have the character.
He does.
He has the wrestle build. He has the build. He has the wrestling skills. He has all the moves you want. But he doesn't have a character. He doesn't have any charisma, any kind of real enthusiasm to sell himself as the character. He's good the wrestler. If this was just a shut up and wrestling kind of situation, he's perfect. But the fact that you have to have a character, he doesn't have it. And it's going to, unless he does something soon.
And Triple H gave him a harsh reality of what the WWE really is.
So maybe this heel turn might give him the actual character, because him being a smiling guy isn't helping.
Ain't going to help. And then Kurt Angle's just, even Kurt Angle, there were times in his career where he channeled his inner aggression. Like when he just went. Like, even though he comes out there with a milk truck and
right,
milk,
that was awesome.
I mean, he had his moments where he just went all into just beast mode.
Yeah,
and I don't see that.
No, I don't see that with him
from Jordan.
So, but hopefully we'll see something after Survivor Series. Next, we have the tag match: Finn Balor, Samoa Joe versus the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I like the dynamic that, despite that Finn Balor and Samoa Joe had this heated fight, still don't like each other, that they look professional and still played as a congruent tag match or a fluent team between the two. And even though, like I said, they work together well, Samoa Joe hits the Uranagi on Carl, then suicide dives on Luke Gallows, which shocked the mess out of me. Yeah. Then Finn hits the coup de grace for the win, and right when he gets the win, Samoa just walks out like, okay, I did my business. I'm back to hating you. Let's just get ready for Sunday. Like, I like that. Samoa Joe is a great character. Like, he knows how to sell being a bad guy. He knows how to sell who he is. Even sell this feud. Even sell the fact that he knows how to be professional, fight when he needs to fight, and then go back into not liking who you are as a person. So I really like that. Then we have the main event, which to me was a lackluster main event, but still main event it is. Kane, the big red machine, which they're not using the monster thing that he tried to call himself at when he first came back, was like, I'm the only monster. Kane, the monster machine, however you want to call it, versus the monster among men, Braun Strowman. And so apparently, even though he's not using the machine or monster thing and not using the machine, it's still kind of using the feud to say who is the monster in the WWE. And I'm guessing because of Survivor Series, this is just like a quick way to quarrel this feud. And I think it was too soon. Like, we really didn't have that dynamic of a feud. I think Kane having that TLC throwing him into the garbage truck could have been a good feud, even though this is an aging Kane. Why would you even use him in the first place? But they did make him look strong in that night in the first couple of weeks, but still.
I just have one concern about this.
What's up?
Why are we even doing this with Kane?
Yeah, we shouldn't have done it.
We don't need to put Strowman over. We don't need Kane to put Strowman over.
But they needed somebody big, though. They needed somebody big.
He did it with the Big Show.
That's what I'm saying.
What more can Kane do that the Big Show hasn't already done?
Exactly. That's the thing.
It's the whole point of, like, why are we doing this? Kane.
Yeah, they should have did Kane before Big Show if they were going to do it.
Yeah.
But I guess because Kane was more I don't know. I really don't.
Broke the ring with the Big Show twice, right?
Yeah.
Threw him through a steel cage.
Yep.
So what else? Strowman,
but you
we
see
know he's strong.
But you see what they had to do, though. The fight, I mean, they didn't even really have a fight. They just started fighting around the ring. Mm-hmm. And Kane tries to bring a table, and Ron hits a running power slam, and they go through the ring. And that's Monday Night Raw. They go through the ring, you see neither one of them. So now, I mean, honestly, if I was thinking like a fan, I'd be like, oh, well, is Braun Strowman going to be ready for SummerSlam? Like, he didn't come out and do his, yeah! Like, so, but hey, it's WWE booking for you. Monday Night Raw. Quick rating, 1 to 10. What you give it?
Just by anytime the Hunter's on the show, when Triple H is on the show,
are we going to get a good rating?
I love Triple H. He's like one of my top 5 favorites.
Definitely.
And I like the fact that him and Stephanie are back to kind of give you that heel, feel again. The Shield's good to see Roman back, to get to see them in action. Although the match I didn't really care for it, but it's good to see all 3 of them how they come down to the ring, and do their thing. I just, out of 10, the Kane and Strowman I really didn't care for. I mean, just for reasons like I just said. 6 out of 10.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. It's been 4 and 3 for weeks.
Yeah, I give it 6 because now that Triple H is there, like, he just adds so much more fire to this 5-on-5 match. So.
Hey, and shout out for Triple H, because while they were doing the live, like while they were traveling overseas and doing the matches because of Roman's illness, he actually took the helm as the 3rd member of the Shield for a couple of nights. So I really like that. So you give it a 6 out of 10. If I had to rate it out of 10, I'm gonna give it an 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8. Even though I could not stand the end of the match. Like you said, I like the story. I like how they really made a good drama with the Jason Jordan thing. Putting Triple H into it was a major surprise. Even though we didn't get to see Paige, hopefully the build of possibly seeing Asuka be what she's supposed to be is really good. And the Samoa Joe thing and the Shield. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. Maybe a 7.6. Worse. 7.6 at worst.
Okay.
So that's Monday Night Raw. Now we're going to dive right into WWE SmackDown Live on November 14th, which was 2 days ago. Starts with the SmackDown rally in the room. And Shane McMahon is like the leader. He's kind of hyping them all up into like talking about how they're all going to win. They're going to show how they're no longer the B show, but they're the show. The New Day, the New Day rallies with them with saying, SmackDown rocks. Smack down rocks, and then they start doing that, and then it comes into Daniel Bryan coming into the ring to add on to the hype to beat Raw, and it kind of still shows the tension between Daniel Bryan and Shane, how he didn't like what Shane did the other night, but they're still all on the same page to kind of take down SmackDown. And despite the attack by Kane on him, he introduces their new WWE champ, AJ Styles. And so now, since he's going, of course, against the Beast with Paul Heyman, he has to be AJ Styles. Well, he offers to be AJ Styles' advocate for the night. And his Heyman-like promo was very fun to watch. And he shoots on Brock being a quitter, and he actually got some real life cuts on him, like how he did years ago in WWE. And then on top of that, how he quit on a half a knee bar in the UFC. And when he said that, I was like, he's really trying to like tick Brock Lesnar off. So, and AJ, just like how he likes to quit, AJ is going to push him to quit. And so that's what he was saying. It's not going to be, we know Brock Lesnar's strong, but AJ is going to last. He can't keep up and last as long as AJ. And then AJ gets on the mic and he's like, I can talk on the mic myself. I'm not a puppet like Brock.
Oh, man.
So then he responds to Paul saying it's not going to be a Rocky movie. He's like, you're right. It's not going to be a Rocky movie. It's going to be a Styles production. And so he's like, he's going to prove that SmackDown is the house that AJ Styles built.
And Suplex City is the city that,
let me tell you,
Brock Lesnar built
from the ground up.
You're gonna have to leave that house and go to Suplex City.
I'm trying to wait. I'm gonna wait on what I feel about that match. I like why they built it up, but I really have something I want to.
And so on such short notice. But quick question for you.
Go ahead.
Are you happy now that Jinder doesn't have the belt?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed because now
you what?
I'm mixed because I honestly wanted to kind of see the now since he brought it up. I wanted to see the match, the Jinder Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. Not because I thought it was going to be a great match, but because the builds matched to me, the size matched to me. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, Jinder can surprise us because it wouldn't be hard to see him surprise us and come out strong. Mm-hmm. You know, so even though, like I said, Jinder is a very underwhelming character, and he started growing on me here and there, I just wanted to see the match. Even though I definitely want to see AJ Styles a little bit more.
He's got more.
He has
must see.
Yeah, he's definitely the more popular vote.
Because I never thought we'd ever see that match.
No,
not at all. I didn't think WWE was going to go the route because we thought with the whole booking of the
India tour
thing and him. But like I was telling you before the podcast, he did it in a joking way. JD from NY206 on YouTube, you know, he was like, don't go out there saying that this is legit. But he always pokes fun at Jinder Mahal he feels like he's juicing up. To get so big, he probably say they made him drop the title because of a wellness policy.
Could be.
And he's supposed to be. They say it's some type of injury that has him out, but in that match against AJ Styles last week, he didn't look like an injured wrestler.
And you know what? I mean, that's a good idea. I never thought about that. I mean, because he did get big really fast.
He did.
But
like he went in some kind of chamber,
right?
Some laboratory,
like Captain America, the first Captain America. Yeah. But what Wrestle Talk TV says, really, what it was is they finally got to Vince McMahon. It was like, hey, we know you're trying to catch this money with India, but America and everybody else who watches WWE has lost interest in SmackDown and WWE as a whole because nobody cares about Jinder Mahal. Nobody's excited to see Survivor Series because nobody's excited to see the Jinder Mahal and Brock Lesnar match. And which was another reason I think that they let go of Jason Jordan. Nobody was excited to see Jason Jordan as a part of the Five. So really Vince McMahon, knowing that this, as much as they hyped it saying that this is one of the major times that the brands fight each other, knowing that he needed something to keep their ratings high, he just finally said, you know what, I'm going to get rid of him and put AJ Styles. Now, with that being said, I don't know, are they going to give it back to Jinder for the India tour, or are they going to keep it? Wrestle Talk TV sounds like they're going to let AJ keep it.
They should.
I hope so. I hope so.
I hope they build toward what they should build toward, and that's him and Nakamura at WrestleMania. That's
honestly,
how I feel it should be.
With the fact that I feel like you really got it in my head that John Cena is going to get his 17 this year, I don't see that because of that. But if they continue to listen to the people, we might get it. So that's a strong hope. So it wasn't that many matches this on SmackDown. It really was just 4 matches that I can think of, and I didn't even write all of them down.
Matches or something?
Just 2.
2.
Yeah. The first one, the United States Championship match, Baron Corbin versus Sin Cara. It was a decent back and forth. But Sin Cara runs into End of Days for the win. That's pretty much how they do that. And I like that move. So I like Baron Corbin.
And a deep 6.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, considering that not only a couple of months ago we was talking about how WWE was throwing him under the bus, making him lose his title, making him lose
well, he lost Money in the Bank.
Lost the Money in the Bank thingy. And he lost that title shot. And he lost something else too. I forgot. But yeah, for him to get, now he's the United States champion, so he's got a good rebound, to say the least. Next match we have. Oh, no, before I do that, I just want to make this little chime that even though Daniel and Shane McMahon are on the same page for this week, he was like, after this, we're going to have to talk because you didn't tell me about what was going on with the whole Under Siege thing on Raw. So we need to talk because we're supposed to be a team. So maybe we're going to get another tension between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon once after this. So, And considering that Kurt Angle, that they didn't want Kurt Angle to wrestle, and they put him on the spot, maybe Daniel Bryan's now trying to.
I think with Daniel.
Yeah, they say
I don't think he's gonna let him.
I don't think so either, because what they say is that the brokers, the people who really have the investments in the WWE stock, they don't want to see somebody who's had a history of concussions and apparently seizures too come back and wrestle. They don't like that look on the company, so they're not voting for it. So unless Vince McMahon throws up a big middle finger to them, we're not going to see that. So then we had the Women's Championship match, which for me was probably the highlight of the match. It's a decent match between Charlotte Flair and Natalya, which is another thing that I feel like what they did with Jinder Mahal. Nobody wanted to see Natalya fight Alexa Bliss.
Basically heel versus heel.
Exactly.
Most of the pay-per-view card, like we were talking earlier. I mean, you had Brock and Mahal, both heels. You had Daddy versus Bliss, both heels. You got Miz and
Baron,
both heels.
Yeah.
So
definitely
shake some stuff up.
And Charlotte, now I like her new help signature move, that big boot to the face.
I don't like that.
I love it.
It's an effective move, but I wonder why she stopped doing the natural selection.
I don't care. I like the big boot.
I like the
and the natural selection was good.
You just roll them over and flip them over on the head. Yeah, that's it.
But I like this big boot. It reminds me of the days of Test and when Kane and Undertaker used to do it to this effectiveness.
How dare you forget about Hogan, who started?
Oh yeah, Hulk Hogan, of course.
His leg didn't go up as high.
Exactly. So I'm thinking we'll put that impact on it, but and then she hits the figure eight to get the win. And
how you leave out Big Cass? He got a nice big boot.
He did. But
his sounds off though.
Yeah, Big Cass been gone for so long. I forgot. I totally forgot. Totally forgot about Big Cass.
Wow.
Hey, Enzo made him. I think Enzo kind of really was honest. Without Enzo, Big Cass. Even though I hope he does recover and maybe he can rebuild himself as a big guy. And hey, if they really push him strong enough, I would want to see a Big Cass Strowman. Strowman's going to win, but Big Cass...
Or you can have him fight other people like a Joe or somebody like that. Or
Nah, because I would rather see Joe and Strowman before I see Big Cass.
I'm just saying for filler.
The build up. No, he has to fight like Elias.
Yeah. I can see him and Elias going at it.
Yeah, I want to see him because now he can abuse Elias, maybe break the guitar on his back. Then that comes into him beating up Apollo and Titus O'Neil. Because they're pretty much filler people, and
build up off that, yeah.
And then maybe one day, Cass decides that he wants to attack Strowman from behind one day, and he's going to get destroyed.
That's going to be a bad day for him.
But I think that'll build Cass up though. Cass needs a build up, and if not, if he doesn't do anything like take a shot at Strowman, he's going to be right at mid card kind of forever. So. Then next we have the Jey Uso defending his Jimmy Uso, I think, defending his brother Jay from Chad attacking him, which they worry that he might actually be injured.
Because they look like he hurt his leg last week.
And they also said that after that, after the commercial break, he didn't get up. He stayed sitting down, even to the point that the lights went off before they finally carried him off. So he might really have an injury coming in the Survivor Series.
I don't think that match is supposed to end that way last week.
I don't think so either.
Count out. So we'll have to see Sunday how he looks against Sheamus and Cesaro.
And if he is hurt, I just hope he can play to at least a good, better, his full potential Sunday if he is really hurt. So maybe that's why they didn't put him in a match to give him this extra week to heal. So
and I am kind of disappointed that I don't get to see the Shield versus them. I kind of would rather see the Shield versus the Usos instead of the New Day. I like the whole idea of the New Day. Because you don't want to, I was really hyped when they first announced the match. I was like, I want to see Seth and Dean versus Usos.
I admit, I did want to see that more than Sheamus and Cesaro, but I would rather see the Shield all three together.
I agree.
And so now, after that, then they can start working back on getting their titles. But that's a different story. And Jey Uso, I think, beat Chad Gable in this match.
I didn't get to see the I didn't get to see the ending.
I watched it, but I kind of faded in and out through this.
Yeah, I didn't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't anything knocking because they're good talent, but it was just I was just waiting for what I was waiting for because I had an idea going into the show.
No, they did. Matter of fact, he did pull out a win because I remember they were mad. Chad and Shelton Benjamin was kind of mad while they were kind of walking out at the end. Yeah. Matter of fact, he hit him with a sweet chin, that little super kick. That's how he won it.
Okay.
Yep, that is right. So, what else matches? We had the New Day taking on
Kevin Owens and
Sami Zayn. Now, I that's a match I missed. I didn't see that match.
I saw it.
How was it?
It was actually a pretty... it was actually okay match. It wasn't like...
No, I did see that match. That was the end. It was a match before that. What was the match before that?
Was there a match before that?
Yeah, it was 4 matches. I knew it was 4 matches.
That's your 4.
Is it?
You got your Corbin and...
Women's Championship, Corbin. And then, that is right. That's the 4th one. Okay, so I did see this match.
Yeah.
Because what happened, like we know what happened, as it was building up. Go ahead. Which one?
Dun, 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 dun.
That one. Perfect. What's the thing now? I keep wanting to say the whole
Sierra,
thing. Sierra
Hotel, Indigo, Echo, Lima, Delta,
Shield, Baby. So then we have the Shield in that half Raw, half Shield shirts.
Which is the most ugly shirts I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't like when they split it in half. But I guess they're like, hey, we're Raw, but we're the Shield. So that kind of plays to their rogue, not heel, not good guy. The Shaw. The reeled. So
he said the reeled.
The reeled. So they come down, and as they're surrounding, it looks like everybody in the ring, all 3 of the New Day, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, are ready to take on the 3. That even the commentary is like, well, 3 and 5, it's going to be hard for the Shield. And then Kevin Owens and Sami rolled out.
They built up to that because like how Shane was accusing them a few weeks. You guys have no brand loyalty. That's why I need people. And they were sitting there like, oh yeah, we're going to fight them.
Then they looked at each other like,
he's like,
you want to get out of here?
They still have everything to do.
Let's go. Then that was a good fight. And this what builds up right here is why I'm glad I kind of didn't see the Shield Usos fight, because as they were fighting, the Usos were the first team to come in, but when they walked in, they ran right into Roman Reigns, and they had that family homage moment, like family, I can't fight you, you can't fight me. Seth the Dean was like, but we were supposed to fight you anyway. So,
but that's how it was. Like, I'm glad you caught that. But then remember how I caught the thing with Gable and Jordan?
Right, there was the first. They come at each other.
Yeah.
And so then after that, we see Sheamus and Cesaro first come through the ring, and they come adding the numbers for Raw. And while this is going on backstage, we see all the women are coming, and they find the women's women's locker room restroom.
Well, it was my bad. It was a restroom.
It was back there, yeah.
They was asleep after they
right.
after they beat them down.
So they come in and they just demolish the entire SmackDown's women, like all of them. Yeah, even
Lana.
Oh, I feel bad for Lana.
Lana she always get the back end of something like Bliss is just steady, just like pounding on her. Nia Jax is. Who she fight? She's fighting Tamina. I do want to see that.
Yeah, I like that.
I want to see them hook up because they're like the 2 biggest.
Exactly. That's the only 2 things that make Nia Jax actually have competition. Mm-hmm. And then I like the fact how they actually put a story into it by like them all surrounding Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And I think they had to because, usually we don't see WWE let somebody win in their hometown, which I meant to put in, which is an awesome moment for me. When she won, she did this good promo about, her Ric Flair, we know, had been sick and in the hospital. And so to her, he was at home and she was like, this is for you. But as she goes up the ring, you hear the woo and the original Ric Flair music. He comes out, they hug, cry, hold each other up. Beautiful moment. Like you said, WWE doesn't usually give people that kind of glory in his own time. Yeah, they do. So I feel like they had to bury her at some point in this ring, in this night. So you see them all surround Charlotte, get her up, and then Alexa hits that big elbow or a fist.
It's a fist, isn't it? I can't really tell. She
does. Like I
can't really tell if it's a fist or a forearm or an elbow.
Her arm part somewhere collides in Charlotte's face and takes her out.
He's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. And so back in the ring now, everything's building up. More SmackDown people are coming. More Raw people are coming. You see, what was that? I saw Apollo come in for Raw, and who else?
I have a question.
Okay.
since this is the house that AJ Styles built, where was AJ Styles built? When they was tearing down his house?
AJ Styles, Randy Orton, John Cena. None of them were there.
This is the AJ Styles.
But you know what?
But where were you?
I think
you were there when they came to Raw. You were there leading.
But then on that side, where was Roman? Where was Strowman?
Roman was sick.
Okay, that's true. But where was Strowman?
Strowman was in the garbage can. Remember?
Okay.
At the TLC.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They had legit reasons.
They had reasons.
Where was AJ Styles? Dang. Where was he? He was there that night. Did he leave early? You know, AJ, you need to go home. Go prepare for your match to get suplexed to hell and back.
Oh my God!
This Sunday, you need to go get as much rest as you can. We'll give you the night off.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So
where was he?
They weren't there, to say the least. And then while everything's going back and forth,
Shinsuke and Rude was there.
Yeah.
Even Ziggler was out there, even though he really,
has no purpose.
Yeah.
Apollo was out there with no purpose.
I was looking. I said, "Why is he here?"
I want to be with Rob.
And did you see him? I don't know if you caught it. If you go back and look at it I don't want to get too far ahead. Okay. But when they did the first one,
yeah,
and Roman does the ooh, and he's out there on the side.
He does it too.
He's like,
I gotta go back and watch that tonight.
Looking like
I gotta watch that tonight.
What your careers come to? That like a fan in the crowd rooting Roman when he does his.
Yes. Ooh. What else do they do?
I'm saying
besides go worldwide. All right, so in comes Braun Strowman, who made him. Kurt Angle comes at the top of the ramp. He's like, Strowman, get in there.
No, he didn't even do it aggressively. He just like.
Yeah, he did. He played like a mafia. He was like, this is who I got.
And then he stood it. I like how Strowman stopped and looked, and he was like, and then he went.
It's like, come on. Strowman comes in, and like I said before we got up here, I like that Shinsuke is the first line of defense. He's over here, what the hell? Can't get with everything. He just throws Shinsuke to the side, and he just like demolishes everybody.
It was so funny. Look at Shinsuke. I said, I like his heart.
Yeah, that's. You know what? Just because of that, I got to see him hit the Kinshasa on Strowman somehow.
How you gonna get him down?
I don't know. There ain't enough people on wrestling. No, this is what happened. John Cena is going to do like this whole try and lift him 4 times with the AA. Not going to work. He's too big. And then at the last little line of energy, he's AA! Oh my God, John Cena! And then they were like, but Braun Strowman's still getting up. And then at that moment, that's when Shinsuke's sitting there. And then
oh my God! I wish you guys could have just. I wish I could have saw. See Moody when he just tried to do the Nakamura. I can't.
So he hits the Kinshasa, and then Braun Strowman
gonna do it. That's why we need to.
We gotta get a video.
We gotta get a video so y'all can see this fool over here.
Oh man, I get super excited. And so then out of nowhere, then after that, then he's still gonna be up. Bobby Roode's gonna try and do the glorious DDT. He's gonna get up one more time.
So everybody's gonna do their finisher?
Got to. It's Braun Strowman. Who's gonna slow him down? That's the only way that I would be convinced of somebody taking down Braun Strowman is if everybody does it. And so then after that, Randy Orton hits his RKO, and then they make Shane jump from like some kind of top rope.
He probably do some kind of elbow drop or something. But where the other 4 guys or 3 guys or 2 guys gonna be at while they're doing all these finishers?
It's a good question. I don't know.
In a perfect world.
Exactly.
What's on the other side now?
Yeah.
You got
Samoa Joe. Finn Balor.
The Game.
Triple. Oh, God.
And Kurt Angle. Where are they going to be at?
Good question. That'll never happen.
I got a feeling that Sledgehammer going to come into play. But we'll get to that.
All right, so basically they take over. They're destroying everybody. The Shield is holding Shane McMahon hostage and pushing his face on the ropes to look at everything they've done outside the ring. Then they hit this man with a triple power bomb. Kurt Angle's like, hey, get him up. No, Braun's like, you want to see it? He starts throwing the crowd. So they do it again. And then that's when they get him up. And Kurt Angle's like, get him up. You know what? Let me take off my jacket. He looks at him, he holds his head up, and it's like, you see what I'm gonna do to you, boy? And then he gets that man, hits him with a very awkward looking angle slam.
How's it feel, Shane? You think this is bad? Wait till Sunday.
Right.
I'm like, he's literally like spitting all in
his face. So that is how SmackDown ends.
It was terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was terrible for SmackDown because I liked it Raw's siege better. Because like I was saying, how with
SmackDown,
SmackDown didn't have a purpose because they started it.
Right.
So it was just like, hey, we just gonna come in here, and it looked more staged if anything. But Raw, when they came to SmackDown, it was just like, you already know why I'm here. Like, and it's just like all their strong people was there.
Yeah.
Like you had Joe, Balor was there.
They had their whole five
Strowman
except Triple H.
Was there. Everybody except for Triple H, which he didn't really have to come because he's the draw. Yeah. So he wouldn't have a purpose coming there fighting.
Right.
But I like how Raw came. We had a feeling that they were gonna kind of wait to the last show before to come back and try to make their little siege or whatever. I liked it. Instead of the 2 shield bombs, I thought they should have let Strowman got a power slam in there.
I thought they were.
Yeah, because they put the camera on Strowman and it was like, okay, so are they gonna let him power slam Strowman?
Right.
Let him put like the finishing touches on it because he's the strongest one on that show.
I think they're saving that for Monday. I mean for Sunday.
So I thought they were gonna let him, but I gotta give it to Shane. Shane's a fighter, man. Like he went down with the ship. Because you notice, like when they first came, one thing I will say about SmackDown when they came to Raw, they didn't attack Kurt Angle.
They just held him.
Shane ran into it and he got
into the mix. He went and ran at another one
ran
went
away from them.
Yeah,
and they went and got him out the back and walked him back down to the ring. So they never physically did moves on Kurt.
So I mean, and I think that kind of attributes to Kurt Angle. We know has. Recent history, even though they are letting him wrestle now, I think they're still limiting him like they did on TLC. They kind of let him take a little bit of bumps, go off for a little while, then come back and just be completely strong. Exactly. So, which I feel like something
now we get to see the Kurt Angle attire finally. Like we get to see him come out.
Yeah, we're gonna get it.
I want to see the red shiny boots and the gold medals. You gotta have him.
I mean, Shane told him to bring it. And Kurt Angle said he's going to bring it. So, rated out of 10. What you got?
Just for the fact of the situation with Charlotte, I was glad they took the belt off Natty.
Yep.
So, I'm really actually looking forward to seeing Bliss and
Charlotte
because they've been the 2 most accomplished women.
Yeah, they have.
No matter what show they've been to. Now, Charlotte, like she said, has been more of a struggle for her on SmackDown. But on Raw, she was the person. I like how she said about Bliss. She was like, before there was a goddess,
queen.
There was a queen on Raw, and she ran Raw pretty much when she was there.
I don't know, man. I mean, Sasha Banks though.
Her and Sasha went back and forth, but Sasha never could defend her belt. Charlotte did.
Yeah, that's true.
And Charlotte always ended up with the belt.
Yeah,
but I like the idea of that match. I didn't care for Sin Cara or.
I knew they weren't going to let Sin Cara win it. It didn't really matter
to me who won that.
Who wanted to see Sin Cara versus The Miz?
I know. So I think that's going to be probably a pre-show fight with those two because that's the only feud they really hadn't really built around.
No, the pre-show fight is on the Cruiserweight Championship.
It is, but they're probably going to be the very first fight, if anything. They're going to...
It got to be.
I think you got to open up the show with a bang, though.
So what do you think? I think they'll do the women's first.
They may, but I think the earlier the better. Go ahead and get Corbin and Miz out of the way. So I did like that, and then I love the whole fact of the Raw, which I kind of hate that I'm going to rate SmackDown higher than Raw because Raw is the reason why.
Right, we're going to rate Raw higher.
Yeah, I like how they came in. I like the way they did their taking over thing, man. I like how Shane went down with the ship.
Yeah.
He didn't run. He didn't tuck and run. But my biggest thing, where was AJ Styles? This is the house you built, but you weren't there to defend your house.
Where was Randy?
And you just won the title, last week. You're the champion of the show.
But here's the reason why John Cena didn't come. I mean,
I know Cena wasn't going to be there.
And if he did, it wouldn't have looked good because, I mean, you're having Cena there as this plug, this legend to come in. For him to come, and they were already overwhelmed by Raw, he was just going to come in. It would have
made no sense.
Exactly. He would have went down with them. So
yeah. But that's just the only thing I had with it. I'll give them a 7.
You give them a 7?
Yeah, and I like the way the title changed hands with Charlotte, and I like just the overall last part of SmackDown. I didn't like the way it opened up, how Shane was doing a little pep rally thing. You gonna let them talk about you? You gonna let them? They said they gonna do this to you, and they said they gonna do that to you. I didn't really care for that. It just looked like real cheesy to me. But to say they did all this getting amped and they still got drugged, it didn't really mean nothing to me.
Drugged in the dirt.
But see, most of SmackDown's siege was backstage. Like Raw, they did it in the ring.
Right.
Like they didn't have the only backstage we saw was when the women did it. So, like as far as everybody else, they handled it in the ring. Everybody else came running down.
Right.
But 7 out of 10 for me, just because I love the way it ended. And then now I still don't know how Survivor Series is gonna go.
Okay. For me, I give it a 9 because to me this was a really complete show for me. It was, man. Even though it was cheesy, I liked the whole setup because it made sense. We know it's building up it was like really making them have a rally cry without them being all in front of SmackDown. Like,
why would you need to be pumped up? If anything, that should have been Raw being pumped up because you already got the upper hand.
But still, like, they know that, like,
I like the way they've been doing it the last couple weeks of being arrogant. Like, what are they gonna do? Nothing.
Yeah, but that was just the New Day. Shane and them didn't really do that though. Like Shane was just like, hey, we're gonna be the best. We're gonna let them know. Like Shane's mind, they were always the underdogs. Like he was like, they already saying we're the B show, so they needed that rally to be like, we're going to show them once and for all, dog on it. We are the show. Like, so they needed that. So I like that part. I like the United States match was decent.
I didn't care.
It was a good match. I mean,
zero interest for me. All I wanted to see was the end of days and the deep six.
That's true too. The women's match was good. I wish they
like the fact that Charlotte won.
Yeah, I wish Natty was a better wrestler because I feel like between their two signature moves because of their family's history, that'll be an awesome rivalry to be watching. But for me right now, as far as SmackDown, I would rather see Naomi Charlotte go back and forth. Yeah, that's probably the only women's matchup I would want to see on SmackDown right now. I love the whole New Day. The Uso, Chad, and Gable. It looks like Gable and Benjamin are going to start turning heel, and I like that.
I kind of sense it a little bit too.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm still not sold on them as a team. To me, it just doesn't.
They're just there together.
Yeah, they're there. It's like we just stuck this together, and we're going to force feed this to you.
Yeah. So I like how the Usos called them American Alpha too.
You know what? I would like to see Gable and Ziggler together as a tag team.
They are wrestling front.
Both of them as a tag team. Both of them are kind of high flyer. Can make. Yeah. We got one who's the suplex or the strength strong one, and then we got one who can, do
some all more maneuverable.
And
I would actually like that as a 3-way. Like them just add to Shelton Benjamin. Like Shelton can be like that ultimate muscle. He'll be the big E of them.
Manager or something.
Be their big E.
No.
Look, listen. Mark my words. This WWE is turning into a 3-man front, and they're going to eventually make some kind of 3-man championship. They're going to start doing all this. Yeah, they are, man. It's becoming that.
It's not going to happen.
It's just becoming that. You have to accept it. Even on NXT, which is about to have, which I wish I knew more. The War Games. The 2 rings in 1 cage,
like they used to do that back in the day in WCW.
Exactly, and I never seen that. Even though I know I can go back and watch it.
I used to watch it like that. It was
so I can't. I have to see this. Like I've never seen it, and like I said, the Authors of Pain. Who is it? I forgot the other teams.
All mixed into it.
It's gonna be great.
It is.
So
at first, it was looking like War Games was actually gonna be better than Survivor Series.
Yeah,
and like JD from NY206. Was saying on YouTube, he was like, it's like WWE had to, it's all under the same company. But it's like we can't allow our development show to outdo us. This is Survivor Series. This is one of the big 4 pay-per-views. So, and like he was saying, he feels Survivor Series is going to be better than what WrestleMania was this year. SummerSlam wasn't that good.
Oh man, that main event was awesome.
But now, other than the Strowman slamming Lesnar through the tables and stuff, that's about the only thing I really care for.
What? That whole match was good.
It was good, but I love to see how Strowman manhandled Brock.
Only reason I didn't like it because then it just was like, hey, Brock Lesnar left. Almost the same thing with Kurt Angle. He left and then he comes back and rallies the win. Like for me, like I would rather him had stayed in there, stuck it out, and just lost. Because he shouldn't have won. Lesnar should not be champion. I'm sorry,
but he is.
But he is. You can't go with what it is. So we're gonna wrap up Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown Live.
We gotta do our.
We're gonna get into that, but I know the time we have right now is not going to give us the permission to say what all we need to say about Survivor Series. So we're gonna go ahead and end this little rally right here, and when we come back, we will give us our perception of this upcoming Sunday's pay-per-view. Survivor Series, Team Red versus Team Blue. See who we have to win it. Only that, we're going to give with the little awards that they gave out for the MLB, who found out who's MVP and Rookie of the Year, and NBA action. It was a great game tonight. Found out who was on top. This is Sports Moves. We'll be right back.